We got it just in the nick of time. Hey, Denise, welcome to the show tonight. Hello, everybody. Something is happening with my screen. It looks really weird, but good evening, everybody. It's Tuesday, February 22nd. It is 02/22/2022. So for those of y'all who are all into numerology, today should have been a good day. Hopefully some positivity manifested today. I'm going to mess around with these settings here for a second, Q. If you want
She
to
don't like the
say
picture.
anything, go for it, boy. I don't. And something happened to my, I don't know, something happened to the way it shows up on my phone, so it looks smaller than it normally is. But anyways, it's 8:05. It's 8:06, so we like to try to hit the live button right at 8:05 live, and we'll spend a couple minutes just kind of talking about what Free Thinkers is, how to join us, how to follow us, and then we'll get into our topic tonight, which isn't necessarily talking about Kanye per se, as opposed to, I think his life being in the limelight right now and how everybody has an opinion, how everybody has something to say, but the reality for a lot of people um, is very similar to some of the things that we're seeing in Kanye right now. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. It wasn't just, like I said, so much about him per se and his particular issues, but certainly we will talk about that.
So,
Uh,
if you haven't seen it yet, you can still get on. That doesn't mean that
oh, yeah, for
you
sure.
disqualified from the conversation.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the new documentary on Netflix or however you get it, you certainly don't have to have seen that to engage in this conversation. The Netflix documentary, just for those that have seen it, hopefully was just kind of some insight to who this person is, which sometimes helps to explain why sometimes we operate in the manner in which we do. Um, but it is a documentary on Netflix. But no, you're right. You don't have to have watched it. You certainly can have your own opinion just based on the stuff that you've seen or maybe read yourself, in TV land. Um, if you want to join the conversation tonight, you can go over to our Facebook Free Thinkers page, and at the very top of the page, it's pinned. So there are instructions on how to get into the StreamYard panel. If you're interested in just commenting with us live, which we can see all of the comments in our on our comments feed, and sometimes we do share them to the actual screen. If we can get to comments in the comment section and read them and use them on live, we absolutely do. So please do engage with us in the comment section. We will also engage with you later after the show is over. So if for some reason we don't get to it during live show, we will absolutely still keep the conversation going once we're finished. Um, but you can get on live, of course, by clicking the StreamYard link, and it'll bring you literally right into the studio here with us. It is helpful to have earbuds or at least be in a room where the space is door closed, no background noise, so it's not too much background interference. Um, so yeah, on the Facebook Free Thinkers page, you can get the login information for StreamYard, and that link does change every week. It is not the same link every week, so you do need to make sure that you join the Facebook Free Thinkers page. So if you are interested in doing this with us every Tuesday, you have the information as soon as we post it to the page. If you're just watching us, of course, that's best love ever. So thank you for watching and listening, and hopefully you will hit that share button, because that is definitely how we reach new people every single week, is by hitting that share button. So please continue to hit the share button. Somebody mentioned today that they were going to watch us from our YouTube channel, and I was really stoked about that. Like I love when new people are like, "Oh, I'm going to check it out tonight. I'm going to see what y'all are talking about." Like I personally get fucking excited when people say they're going to watch. And he was like, "Why are you so excited?" And I was like, "Because you never know. You really have no idea when one conversation reaches one person and how many other people that conversation reaches." So just because you may go to our YouTube channel and be like, "Oh man, they've only got 40 something subscribers," we are trying to reach as many people as we can. And literally you hitting that share button is how you help us reach more people and continue to have these transparent conversations with strangers. So we are all about it. So for those of y'all that are watching us from our YouTube channel, which is Free Thinkers Worldwide, it is hashtag freethinkers ... and then worldwide. It's two. Free Thinkers Worldwide is 2 words. But we have it all over our Facebook Free Thinkers page. It's on my personal page too. But those that are watching us over on our YouTube channel, thank you. Shout out to the YouTube subscribers. And of course, our fans and our friends and our family on Facebook. So hit the share button if you would. Adult language, adult content, always. We do have adult conversations, and oftentimes adult language is used. So totally up to you who you want to hear this conversation or any of our conversations. But we do use adult language. We prefer for you to jump in at the beginning of the conversation, but you certainly don't have to. But jump in at any point. And if you have to leave early, you can tap out at any time too. You don't have to stay the entire time. But we do generally go to like 9:30, 10 Central Standard Time, of course. Denise, were you fixing to say something?
No, I'm just really ready. I'm just like really ready.
I know, and you said you're such a Kanye fan, so she was like, I am totally jumping into this. She's a stan, not a fan. She's I'm ready for this conversation.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And I think that being somebody who has watched him long enough to really kind of be able to, chronologically experience some of his life, at least what he's shown us or what the TV and the media has shown us. I think that's important because, one of my biggest pet peeves is people who speak on things they don't know, and I realize we only know what we know until we know something different. But
yeah,
I think one of the curses to social media is that people just freely just want to say something, just got something to say or always need to say something. And I've been watching a lot of people having this conversation, and it feels like there's a lot of people who don't stand or fan him enough, you know what I'm saying, to even really go in on what they're saying about his recent actions. So it's good that we got a historian here, a Kanye historian here, who can help us and at least make sure that we have all of our information accurate, because I'm probably going to screw some shit up somewhere along the way. Trish, welcome to the conversation. I'm glad you got to join us. I hope you're feeling better. I think you're muted.
Hey, thank you.
Okay, there we go.
I feel so much better. Thanks for asking.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, last week was a mess. But everybody in my household is now COVID free. It took a few weeks, but yeah, goodbye COVID.
Jeez.
We're COVID safe now. We're set to go. Knock on wood. So.
I'm seeing Q. Are you seeing where it says Facebook user? Are you seeing who posted that? I don't know why it's not showing me.
It does that sometime if if they're posting from Facebook.
Well, I've got all the video streams public, so they should be showing who wrote what. So somebody just commented and it says Facebook user. So I don't know if they're commenting from our Freethinkers page, because it's got to be, because it's not on my private page.
Yeah, it's probably from Freethinkers.
Let me go over to the Freethinkers page. That way I can make sure.
Just keep talking. I'll find it. Don't worry about it.
I just want to make sure I could see who was talking to us, man.
You don't need to know right now.
Should we encourage people to type their name on the comments? Do we just say?
Oh, it's Smack. For some reason, Smack comment. Yeah, Smack said it's him.
I'll copy and paste.
Oh, it's Smack. Hey, Smack.
I don't know why he ain't jumping in on the call, but I know I was actually hoping that, some people would have jumped in on his conversation with Black Tea Talk this morning. Of course, shout out Black Tea Talk every Tuesday morning. I think maybe the whole Kanye subject is a little bit sensitive. I don't know if you got to watch Standing Room Only at all by chance, Denise, but last night I was on Standing Room Only again. Shout out Koo, Miss Dina, appreciate for being on the show again. And they had a segment on there that talked about Kanye. Is he crazy or not? And no, crazy. Man, it made me feel some type of way when the question was asked. And I was so glad I didn't have to go first, and I was so glad I didn't have to go last.
But I was conversation, Denise.
It was interesting to hear each person's perspective.
I have this itch when people. I correct me if I'm wrong. He's bipolar, right?
Yes, bipolar.
Yeah, and so it kind of it's like, give him a break, guys. Like, anybody who knows bipolar knows that, it's not the easiest to get treatment for at this time in our generation. You know what I mean? Like, we need to stop seeing it like they did in the 50s and actually get some consideration in order to get some encouragement to help it out. Like, that's even assuming that has anything to do with it. I'm just going by what his wife said, So
Well, that's why I
you
thought
don't
it
get
was
no break
important
on
to
that.
really have this conversation with us because one, I know how our format is and how we delve into things like that. But two, because, you know, everything doesn't deserve a mental health blanket, right? I'm not one of those people who just
that's true.
automatically go to the mental health default, like this is why everything bad happens because of mental illnesses or mental illness. But I definitely think that that needs to be discussed because more and more people every day are whether they're diagnosed or not are showing signs and symptoms of some type of poor coping mechanism that after years and years and years of being left untreated turns into chemical imbalance, bipolar disorder, depression, just things like that that become way more than just a bad fucking day or a situation that I might not be able to get myself out of. And so I think mental health, it is very important to broach that topic, but I don't think that that's an excuse for bad behavior, and I don't think that everything
Yeah.
gets the blankets of mental health. But in every situation where there is a legitimate chemical imbalance, you do have to take that into consideration, and a lot of people don't. They
Thank
just,
you.
oh well, he's rich, so he should just go get help. Do you know how hard it is to get help, to ask
The
for
right
help?
one that you need
You
too.
know?
Guys are expected different expectations than people give to women, and then on top of that, you got like I mean, gosh, for my anxiety, chronic anxiety, and I have had to. There's been times when I have to go through, counselor after counselor after counselor to find somebody who actually knows what they're doing, plus connects with my needs.
Right.
It's not
Right.
easy. So
No,
it's
just getting
really
help is an easy
hard.
thing to say, but it's not an easy thing to do. I'm in the helping profession. Nobody generally wants to fucking get help until it's
It's a
really,
pain.
really, really, really bad. And most
And
people
does he
are
have
not very
time?
interested. Most people are not interested in ripping their guts open and exposing their deepest traumas. Like that's not fun to do, but
Especially if you're
unfortunately,
famous.
it's what's required if you want to heal from whatever those traumas are. So again, not making excuses for bad behavior. I know that there's been a lot of words like abuse and narcissism and, classic manipulator behavior. Like a lot of things have been said. And I'm not saying that those things aren't true either, but I'm just saying in using his behavior right now that we're all making judgments on as the example, there's way more layers to this than just this rich, entitled, spoiled brat who, does wild things and is now, having a tantrum. And I think that a lot of people, at least from what I've read, a lot of people see it like that. And that is a really dangerous mentality to have, honestly, for society. Because, and we'll get into this later, but like, how many things have we done in moments of despair, in moments of depression, in moments of you know guilt, in moments of a fucking terrible breakup, in moments of temporary insanity that had our asses been recorded or had a paparazzi standing outside of our house 24/7, they would catch us at our worst. And again, not making excuses for bad behavior because I'm not, but all of these things have to be considered because it's not just Kanye. These are our brothers and our sisters and our neighbors and our coworkers and our parents and our partners and our friends and the people across the street that we have to cohabitate with every single day. That we have to find a way to get through, just the human element, which in this case, is a fucking broken heart and mental
So
health
let me
issues.
ask you, Nikki. Let's jump in because
Okay.
this is what I'm sensing. A lot of this stuff that I guess you've been paying attention to, I don't know who has or hasn't been following. What is it that you've been hearing that has you taken back some to say, hold on, guys, let's slow down? Give us more specifics on what are some of the things that's being said that make you say, hey, there's another side to this. Let's look at it a little bit more.
Denise, you want to jump in?
I can't answer that question necessarily. So I'll let y'all answer that question. But I had some other stuff I wanted to say.
Okay, Nikki, answer that, and then
Yeah.
Denise jump into it. Let's go.
So I'm just seeing the feedback primarily consisting of, and this is often coming from women, and I try to have a very neutral fucking stance in all situations related to men and women, but I'm seeing a lot of stances of women who are saying that he, like I said a second ago, it is classic manipulative behavior. This is classic narcissistic behavior. This is classic attention seeking, victim-esque behavior. This is just a rich man who, is not getting his way. And so, he's embarrassing Kim and the family, and he's exploiting the situation. He's crazy. He bought the house across the street. But, like Smack said this morning, he made a good point. He
bought the house across the street?
He bought a house across the street.
What's wrong with that?
Well,
Thank you.
It depends on who you ask, right? It depends on, because some people are like, oh, he did that intentionally.
I'm going to pretend like you asked me, okay?
Okay.
That's a little bit much. I even get if you want to be in proximity to your kids, that does make a difference. But to get a house across the street, that's a little bit too much. You're doing too much.
But if you had billions of dollars and your baby mama, let's just say for shits and grins, because none of us are in their house to know a damn thing really when it's all said and done, right? But let's just say she is pulling the maybe keep the kids from you right now move, right? Not saying she is, and I'm not saying that she did, but I'm saying let's just say that was the case. And you got $1 billion and the house across the street from your kids come up for sale. My homeboy was like, I'm buying that motherfucking house. He was like, I bet that's the last time you're going to not let me see my kids. That's going to be the last time you try to keep my kids from me.
That doesn't help you. You moving.
I'm not saying it does or it doesn't. I'm just saying that may be a rich person's mentality when you can just buy a $4.5 million house.
And that's the problem.
It's nothing abnorul.
And from what I learned yesterday, and I don't know this to be true because I haven't researched this. Yesterday I was told, and again, I don't know if this is true. I didn't research it. I believe the source it comes from, but I didn't research it myself. Apparently, Kim and Kanye had a plan to purchase homes within their neighborhood anytime they came up for sale anyways, to be able to have a home for like each person when it was all said and done. So we don't know when the wheels of this actually got put in motion. And like, Smack made a point yesterday when we were talking about this. He said across the street is not necessarily like our across the street. He said across the street in Calabasas Hills is like down the way, around the mountain, like up the, so
that's
again,
different.
Variables I don't know.
That's different.
Could be, right?
If he down the hill and around the corner, that's different. You just want to be in proximity. If you across the street and you want to see every time she leave out the house and every time she drive in there and what type of groceries she getting, that's too much.
And I agree with you on that, and that's unfortunate. But that does happen.
That's you.
I wouldn't justify that.
Right.
That's you assuming that he wants to see what groceries she's getting, and not that he just wants to make it convenient for him to see his children.
It can be convenient for you to be down the hill and around the corner.
Why?
It's better than having neighbors you don't like. It's better than having a stranger. It is. My family has done this. My uncle and my cousin and another cousin, they all got 3 houses right next to each other, and it's like the best for the kids. And
if it works for the adults, if the adults are not getting along, this is never going to work. If the adults are, in a bad, if they're not even co-parenting, in a healthy manner, and the petty stuff is still happening, that's not going to work. But ultimately, hell yeah, it'd be great if we could all live side by side as a family unit and raise our family together. But I gather that that's probably not happening here right now with Kim and Kanye.
Those yards are going to be like 6-7 acres each.
Right.
Let me go a step further. If this is a relationship that he's trying to mend and recover, that's one of the worst things that you can do.
Right.
You don't want to sit there and try to crowd somebody and force your way into somebody's space. If you think in big picture, if you want your wife back and you want your family back, that ain't the way to go. That's foolish.
I agree, but do you think that right now at this particular second with what has taken place, do you think right now at this particular second, with as fresh as this is, that he's thinking? I don't think he's even thinking like that this is actually not good to do.
If you
for
did
the family,
that's what I'm saying. It's definitely
you gotta have
a
gate code in these kind of houses.
Right.
Just the thought of
Right.
it. See, think about what you're saying. He's rich enough he can live anywhere he wants to. And you force yourself to rub shoulders with somebody who's actually trying to get away from you. It's not smart for somebody who's trying to save his family. You're actually doing the opposite. It's a bad idea.
I agree. It's not a move I would make at all.
The narcissist, I think, I would say a narcissist doesn't care about the other person's feelings. I mean, it has to almost be, force fed to them to understand that she has feelings and you're impacting that. Kanye would have to know that, and he doesn't. It's been kind of everything is centered around him and what he desires. And I'll go as far as maybe, and I don't know the documentary. I haven't watched it, but maybe that closeness because of him and his mother relationship. That's how he attaches himself to Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say something to what Tiara is saying? So I would agree with that because Kanye has been on record saying that was his family now because he didn't have his mom anymore.
Yep.
That's literally pretty much like all he has. Like her
Literally.
now his family. So to go from losing your mom, and when you watch the doc, everybody knows Kanye loves his mom. Everybody knows that, right? You don't have to be a Kanye fan to know that. You know that he was like this with his mom. When you see the doc, you're gonna be like, oh, it's like
She was a very lovable person. I was like, oh my goodness.
Her, like you said, her spirit was so sweet. Like
beautiful soul. Yeah.
Like once you see who his mother was and then understanding what type of person that she was, and to lose someone like that, to have someone like that, and then to lose someone like that, and that's pretty much all you have, and then you finally get a family and they don't need you for no money, you can just really just kind of be. That is when that gets taken from you, and then your kids are gone, that's got to be really rough. Now, I don't know about y'all, but if I personally tried to get back with somebody who wasn't trying to get back with me, and you will do some shit. You will call. Listen, when my ex broke up one time, I was calling his job back to back.
That's what I said. If we had some of our most desperate moments or some of our most fucked up relationship moments on camera, we would all look crazy. Most of us would look crazy. I can't say everybody, but most of us would look crazy if our younger selves was on record with a breakup.
I got 2 questions for Denise.
Oh, you got to tell us, Denise. Now you got to tell us.
Hold on. Let me propose a question first. Number 1, Denise, did it work? Did y'all get back together? And number 2, what age were you when you went about doing it this way?
Okay, so did that particular way of me going about it work? No. Did we get together? Yes. And listen, let me keep this in mind. I'm a Gemini, Kanye's a Gemini. So there's a little bit of that going on. So keep that in mind, y'all. That's the other thing y'all ain't put into consideration. So but we did end up getting back together. When you want somebody, sometimes you think that a person just wants you to fight for them. And you're just like, and even if you don't think they want you to fight for them, you're just like, please, just like, give me another chance. Like, let's try to work this out. Like, I love you so much. Do you know how it feels to have somebody walk out your life that you just still want to be with?
Yes, I do.
Well, and that's life, right? And that is something that we do have to deal with in life. And that is something that most of us probably aren't prepared to deal with in life. And then you throw in a whole bunch of other elements into the mix and you got a shit show on your hands. And that's just period. And again, it doesn't excuse bad behavior. It doesn't. But it's reality. This is the real world. And like you said, Denise, and I've been saying this ever since his mom died, I've loved Kanye from day one as a music junkie, like have been fucking just floored by his abilities as a musician and an artist and just a person. And, I don't know all the ins and outs because I don't follow him like that, but as just a straight up music junkie, like I've always enjoyed Kanye. And the minute his mom died, I was like, he's never going to be the same. And I know what that feels like today. I know what it feels like to lose the most critical person in your life who has literally brought you to where you are and kind of is why you are who you are, to lose that and really not have nobody else. Like, again, not making excuses for bad behavior, but to then lose your family, your children, your wife. And you got to think about it, they kind of linked up, not real long after his mom passed away. So the grieving stage, I know what the last 2 years has looked like and felt like for me. I can only imagine what a celebrity billionaire person with celebrity billionaire problems, day to day looks like, to not actually have love, to not actually have the love that he needed at that moment. Like, and I was team Kim and Kanye all day. Like, I really liked them together. I really hoped that he could be the one for her and she could be the one to pull him out of his situation too. But obviously something went wrong. Something clearly went wrong. And now people are just fine-tooth combing, or not even fine-tooth combing, they're just highlighting all of the bad behavior that's happening right now without giving any consideration to why. And again, this is what we do to regular people in our day-to-day lives. Yeah. And this is what needs to be looked at, is why do we do this?
And then, the narrative, we have to remember how media paints a narrative of an individual. Kanye has been painted, everything he do is erratic, it's mental health, it's crazy Kanye. They don't know how those Kardashians be doing stuff behind the scenes to provoke people. And so I believe they have a lot of control in the media. And some of the stuff, I think Kanye probably is reactive from something we may not be seeing entirely. Because this is not the first time Kanye have said things about that family on record, about Chris being overbearing and manipulative and controlling. So I caution how people view Kanye through this situation as I do still think he's a narcissist, but we can't account for everything he do to that, define it to that. Because I think a lot of times people when they have mental health problems, we only define them by mental health. Like, he didn't come out, he forgot his shirt today, and he didn't wear a shirt to the gym. Oh, he's crazy, or something like that. When it just could be, I like the way I look and I want to have my chest out type stuff. So I think the media plays a big role in how we view Kanye, and have been ever since kind of the spill from the stuff after his mom. Everything after his mom, I think the narrative has been negative towards Kanye.
I agree and I disagree. So I agree with you're saying the media puts a spin, but the part I disagree with is I believe in this day and age, the media can only spin so far. If you are acting like a responsible adult, your actions that people see will counteract the way the media portrays you. People don't look at Reggie Bush like he crazy. You see him on TV, you see him, of course, but he acts like a regular. He don't go off on rants and stuff like that. So when you do things to support people's suspicions of you, then that's what lends it. At this point in media, you have the ability. People have the ability. He has millions of followers. So he has the ability to tell his story and create his narration the way that he sees fit. If you keep doing crazy stuff to support what the media is saying about you, then that gives validation. So that's where he plays a part in that as well. And you can't just say the media has power, but Kanye also has power with the media as well. And he could counterbalance that with his power in the media as well. It ain't just the news and these outlets that have control over that. People got their own outlet. Get on Instagram, Twitter, you can control that. So that's the part I disagree with.
I want to respond to what Q is saying. Yes, there are a lot of things that he does that support the crazy narrative, right? But how many people do we know like Kanye that, like, all of us know a Kanye, and none of us think that this person is crazy. We just think that that's just how they act. So when you put that kind of attitude that Kanye has mixed with this crazy narrative, mixed with whatever gaslighting is going on behind the scenes, mixed with the fact that Kanye will do very calm, reserved interviews where he's speaking very clearly about what he wants to say, and none of those things ever go viral. But if he does one interview where he just gets a little bit loud for a second, or he says something that can be misquoted or misconstrued, that's what's going to be cycled. So at the end of the day, yes, you can control your narrative, but at some point, as a celebrity, why do you have to be so poised all the time? Why do you have to do that? Why is it that when you're not poised that you're being deemed as crazy? Like, for instance, I posted something on my Instagram the other day. I'm on my Facebook, and I said, I was like, oh, was it I'm in the part of my healing where I'm like, fuck you. You know, I'm
I
at
saw
the
that. I saw that.
I'm like, I'm trying to cheat on my ex, right? If Kanye or Beyonce or whoever, Rihanna or whoever posted that same thing, people would be like, what's wrong? What's going on like that? Something must be da 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 da. But I could say that on a regular casual day and it's nothing. So it's just like celebrities get put in this box where they're not allowed to be regular human beings without their being
Right.
wrong, because the media is trying to box them in to be a certain kind of way so that the rest of us can be controlled as well. So it's like, y'all need to stay in line, because if y'all don't stay in line, then you can use your power to tell people they can do whatever they want to do. So it's the media is in control of a lot of things and nobody wants to talk about it.
And
You
he's
know how
been
people
dealing
look
with it.
at-
It's been
go
a long
ahead.
time. He's been dealing with this not like 3 years. He's been dealing with it for 30 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's been a long time. You can either get used to it or you can get done with it, but it's going to happen
Okay,
either
that's
way.
what- You know, I've had a saying, and I don't even know if this is my original saying. It probably came from somewhere else, but I use it quite often. There's two type of people. There's people who are crazy and know that they're crazy, and it's people who are crazy and they don't know that they're crazy. I think part of Kanye's problem is he lacks self-awareness, which validates that those are the people. See, I think everybody crazy to me, but it's the people who crazy and don't know they crazy. Those are the people that's really crazy to me.
Well, do you know how much
'Cause
do you
you
know
don't
about
even realize
bipolar? Because with bipolar, it's sometimes not a choice. It's an action that you need something help to control because you cannot control. So if he is not, like, for instance, on medication or some kind of treatment for his manic phases, then he's not going to always be choosing what he does. He's got to get
Right.
treatment. It's treatment.
Right.
He needs treatment.
And as far as bipolar, I was never diagnosed as bipolar, but if you ask some people who knew me growing up, myself along with others will say I was somewhere close to that. That's why I
Really?
do it. I accredit my relationship with God to a lot of those things. I was
Yeah,
literally
there's
having
different
panic
levels.
attacks, and there was
There's
different
type
levels, and
1, type
Yeah,
1,
there's type 1,
2.
type 2.
I was somewhere
Yep.
on the spectrum. I could tell you that. So I
Right.
ain't even know. But what I will say, that's the part of it. He lacks self-awareness, and there, so like 50 people say 50, but 50 don't care. He know what he doing.
That's the thing. I don't think Kanye lacks self-awareness.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was
Either.
kind of thinking that too. I was
I
struggling
think
with
he
that
really,
thought.
knows.
Okay.
I think he
If
used it
you
for his
watch-
advantage.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
well,
his-
then you ain't
to-
crazy
to-
then. That
Yeah,
means you
I think he
you
plays up
pimping
on
the
the
system.
publicity.
And Tier, to go along with you saying, and then you jump in. I noticed, not in this situation because this is real stuff, but he do a lot of that crazy stuff right before he got an album about to drop, right before he got a new shoe line. He do a lot of stuff like, yeah, you doing that on purpose. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's exactly what I'm gonna say. Kanye's a genius, and his method of thinking be outside the box where normal people be like, I wouldn't do that. Kanye gonna push that
Right.
envelope. He's going to make sure you notice him. Like he commands control of the mic in the room. That's how he is. Almost like it is like a god complex. It is like a king mentality. He
Mhm.
wants to win. That is a winner type mood. Like it's exhausting too. Keep up that type of
But that's where that mindset
level.
bites you back in the so the thing that is your greatest asset also becomes your greatest weakness. So to go back to the documentary, the first part of the documentary, I wrote some things down. This is the first observation that I had about the documentary. I see why most people are not successful on that level. Kanye has a level of perseverance that very few people had. he would sit there and get up and perform, and he would get no, and people say yes, but then be not paying him attention, and he just kept moving, didn't stop. The average person cannot deal with that type of rejection for that long. And he kept on. That's why most people can't be successful on that level. That's why most people can't even be salespeople like it. They're not equipped to deal with that type of rejection over and over and over. Now, what I said, that's his greatest asset. That's why he became as great as he was. On the flip side, that same won't take no persistent attitude that wrecks your marriage.
Yeah.
So even when there's issues and there's separation and you won't take no, there's a time that you do need to give some space. There's a time where you shouldn't move right across the street. Perseverance can work against you in certain areas when, in other words, areas that work for you. Now it's working against you because you don't know when to pull back. Denise, go ahead.
Can I say this? This is something that a lot of people do not know. But Kim and Kanye have been dealing with each other for a very, very, very long time before they were in a relationship. Him and Kim were dealing with each other. So he wanted her for like, I want to say
years.
He was with Alexis.
Long
When he was
time.
with Alexis, first girlfriend when he got on, he
Yeah.
wanted her since then. And Alexis will say that.
Yeah, he wanted her for I want to say like 8 years before they actually got together. So this mindset of I can win her over has been in their relationship this whole entire time. When she got married, he was still in the mindset of I can win her over. I can get her from this man that she's married to. And that's what happened. So you don't think he's thinking, I'm going to get my girl back. Just like I got my dream girl in the first place, and it took me all these years to get my dream girl, I'm going to get my girl back. So it's like for everybody else, it may just seem like he's harassing her and doing this, but maybe he's thinking, you know what, I can win her over again. I can get her back in the same way that I got her in the first place. So
yeah, it's a dangerous thing. It's and just like I think you guys both said similar points, that the perseverance of his thinking what he wants. And so he doesn't understand no or rejection, because no means no right now doesn't mean no not ever.
right.
So he's just like, I'm gonna keep going until I get it. It's dangerous because then you have to have boundaries. You got the boundaries are not there. And he doesn't understand that. But I think that's a lot of times when you have somebody, it's almost like an athlete in winning. Like that is his goal, is accomplishment. Like he doesn't see failure. Like even if he fails, that's not failure to him. Failure is quitting.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
athletic
True.
type of mentality.
Exactly.
True. Tierra, check your micro. Your volume goes up and then it goes down and it comes like it goes real low and it comes back up. It just is doing that in waves.
Oh, that's weird.
It could be your hand, like how your hand's moving while you're talking.
Yeah, maybe so.
But it seemed like it was doing it in an even flow. It was like real weird.
You got the Kanye going on.
No, but that's a good perspective that you bring into the conversation about just the competitive nature. Like he's always fought for what he has, like literally. And I think if you watch the documentary, you'll literally, what you just said is proven true. Like the fucking no's, the constant no's, and the I almost thought I was gonna get a yes, but goddamn it, was still a no. Like how did I even get a no? It should have been a yes. Like and I can see that being a part of someone's fabric, their fucking DNA. If you are competitive, if you are, a fighter by nature, if you are a go-getter by nature, like you might not take no for an answer very well, and this is part of the journey. But
I said that a couple weeks ago, Nikki. I said you can't. It's cool if you want to go after your family. I'm all good with that, but you can't start crying when things don't go your way. And then you turn around talking about she keeping you from your black kids, and you try to pull race in, and you trying to do a lot. I'm like,
when did he say that?
I was like, I don't think I heard. I don't recall that part about the black kids or anything. Like I don't recall that.
He was saying something. You're not going to keep a black father
Well, yeah,
Oh,
he
the
did
dirty,
say
yeah. Something- he
Yeah,
said something like
yeah.
that.
Okay,
To
that
that
was
nature.
okay.
So now he throwing
Okay.
racing.
Yeah,
See, there
he
you
threw that
go.
in there. That was unnecessary. But Kanye also has, and I say this a lot about men because I think this is why men are so much more violent than women, and you can see it in wars, violence, and anything. It's ego.
Well, yeah,
And he's
they
and
don't
he's got a
control it.
lot of that. He's got a lot of
Yeah,
that.
totally.
I agree with
Yeah.
Men,
the Facebook user. Yeah.
men
Right.
egos are fragile. I don't care what any man say. Y'all egos be fragile, man.
Oh yeah.
Like they
Yes.
get crushed.
Yes.
It's different than women for women. Like
But that's the
women, they
thing.
go,
It's you can't as a man, you can't have a big ego. It's not a big ego is not good. Now you want your man to have a small ego. You don't want a man with no ego. Trust me, you don't want a man with no ego at all. But you do want him
True.
to have a
Yeah.
small ego. But somebody with a big ego is real. It's also big and sensitive as well. And yeah, you do get hurt real easy. That's why big ego ain't good because you also you get them feelings hurt real easy.
yeah, it's a balance because you don't want an insecure man and you want
Exactly.
a confident man that holds his own, but then you got that borderline of a man that now he has so much ego he sucks all the out of the air in the room type of deal, and you're second. You know, it's like, you know, they always say I don't want a man cuter than me because he takes the mirror up type stuff. He in the mirror all day. I ain't got a chance to get in the mirror. That's Kanye. Like he's the belle of the ball. It can't be two people. Like Kanye has to command the attention. And even though he wants someone to match his fly, it becomes an issue if she tries to step out. I think they showed a clip of doing a shoot, and Kanye was like, I don't want you to wear this. She's like, you've been dressing me like this for a long time. Now you don't want me to
Right. I
dress like
remember
this?
that too. Uh-huh.
That was
And
when
he was
he
like,
decided to go
this.
Christian. Yeah.
And I said that on something else too. I'm like, just because you
Oh.
start maybe I said that on high IQ, but I'm like, just because you decide to have a conversion, that don't mean you need to make everybody convert at the same time that you do. You met her, she was wearing that when you met her. So don't try to turn around and cover up halfway through the 2 or 3 years into the marriage and then you want to change stuff. That's not a good idea.
Mm-mm.
Do you think that it was the demise of the relationship then when he tried to? Because
That play, I think that definitely played a part.
You know what? I never thought about that, Tier. That is such a good observation because for their entire relationship, he has always propped her up to be like, yeah, girl, do your thing. I don't judge you. I don't care about what happened in the past and what was going on. I still think that you're a queen. I'm going to try to get you on the cover of Vogue. I'm going to make sure this is that. So to go from someone supporting you as is and just propping you up and wanting you to do better to being like, you shouldn't wear that. That does have to be like a major change.
yeah, religion is always something that can shift things that people are not ready for. And I think he went out to Utah or wherever he was going, Montana, and he was connecting with his higher self or whoever he prays to. But and Kim wasn't coming because Kim's like, I'm not on that journey with you. You on that journey on your own. And I think that was kind of when you start having that separation like that, it's hard to get that original feeling that I think they had when they were first on the scene together.
I've seen lots of relationships break up like that.
Mm-hmm.
People have these conversions one way or another, and then they try to get their partner to convert or move with them.
I've had breakups about that.
I mean, I think, and that's if I was married, all of a sudden my husband wants to go off and be a Muslim, that would be a problem for me. Like, you can't, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how you can survive through something like that if that's not who you were when I met you. Or, I mean, it's okay to, but I think that is major change for someone.
It don't bother me. You could be whatever you want. Don't push it on me though.
Don't push it.
Okay, but so you have to be one of those people who's comfortable with that though, and a lot of people are not. Like a girlfriend of mine, her and her husband. I mean, they've been together for like, hell, our kids are 25, so they've been together for probably 26, 27 years. So a majority of their relationship, you know, she's always been Christian, and I mean, he just kind of, I think for the most part, went along with everything because that's just how he was raised as well. And then I think when their oldest was like 6 or 7, he converted to Muslim, and it is still like devout practicing Muslim, but they really had to like have some serious like foundational work done those first couple years because she was like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not going to knock you, and I'm not going to tell you how you feel and what you want to raise these kids as, and all that is not okay. She was like, but I'm not going to do this. And but I mean, damn, what relationship isn't going to have challenges, you know? I mean, and yeah, some things you can't get over, some things you can't you can't work out with that partner. Like the differences are just that different. But if you don't even come from a space where you can try to understand or work around or find a happy compromise, like, yes, that's definitely going to be something that's going to start the demise of a relationship. It's just that incompatibility or inability to be compatible, one of the two.
Sound right both ways.
Yeah.
Sound right.
Right,
Yeah, totally.
right.
Oh shoot,
No, but I
Smack
agree.
here, Smack. I don't know if you can. I muted you because you had loud background noise. I'm gonna unmute you. Or you can mute yourself back.
You know, I'm in the truck with the MILF Moppers on, sliding down 35.
God, there you go.
I know you got something to say. What's on your mind?
Oh, I just jumped back in the truck. What were y'all just saying? Y'all got a great conversation going.
Oh,
We're just still talking about
yeah, just
Kanye,
about
and we just touched on the religious aspect of how that could have driven their relationship apart. Him going religious, her not following.
Yeah, I think you know, being in the industry created Kanye to the Kanye you know now. Like if you watch that documentary, you can hear him with his lisp. You know, because he has
Yes,
the retainer. His
yes,
voice even
yep,
sounds totally different
it
before the
did.
his
accident.
voice
Mm-hmm.
does sound different.
He
Yeah,
didn't
Yeah,
even
that's because
look the
that's
same
before
or
the
sound
accident.
the
his
same.
voice
I
is a
was
lot
really
higher
surprised
now
by
than it was.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was before his
he left
accident.
Yeah, I was
Chicago.
like, he did have his face reconstructed after the accident, though.
Yeah, so
He left
Yeah.
I think that
Chicago though. That's
affected his
why
vocal
he was
cords
like, oh,
too.
Thank
I'm safe to. You know what? My voice was deeper when when I lived in Illinois.
Yeah, so and just to touch on another point, not to harp on it too much, but like I said, he's been fighting the entire time he's been in the industry. Like everything was a no.
Fact.
He had to go. He had to just imagine going in the room knowing you can out rap a whole bunch of niggas, but it's because they're already there. Like I talked about on the show today. You're also in a room full of A&Rs that are like people that work at McDonald's. Like
Mm-hmm.
you know how you stop to do a drive through and you're just like, why don't you put the ketchup in the bag? Like I really had to ask for that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's the same thing. So now you're dealing with someone that's sitting there looking at you. You're playing a dope ass record, but now this person's gonna be like, and I'm gonna help you do better than me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna get you to the next level. Then you got the other guys that are in there and they're like, well, what you gonna do for me? And next thing you know, you doing the I'll Be Sure with P. Diddy just to get a record out.
You just a hoe, but don't nobody want to wife you though.
Yeah, well, you got to do something strange just to get
For
on.
some
You know what I mean?
change.
So I
So
think he's avoided. I think he's totally avoided all that. But at the same time, just imagine all the years that day in, the day out, and in the documentary, what you see is even once he got to a certain level, he was already a platinum producer, and he still wasn't respected. You could see when he's walking into the concert when Jay-Z came out with H to the Izzo, and Jay didn't even
Yep.
really dap him or nothing. Like he just treated him like he was nobody. So then you get to a point where now they gotta fuck with you because now you the number one. They try to make you go against 50 to shut you down, and you end up beating it. Then it still wasn't good enough. It was like, damn, I came out with these shoes, they sold over that, still ain't good enough. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I see about Kanye. I see, yeah, he jumps out there and says a lot of crazy shit, and some of it might just be for attention. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of it, if he's crazy, it's because the industry made him crazy.
I
I remember,
definitely believe the industry is going to do that to you.
yeah, and because you got to be really strong. So even his ego, he's got a really big ego, right? But you have to have a big ego like that, walking in a record label, and you're trying to be standing next to Jay-Z, like. you know how arrogant you would have to be. You'd have to be basically like, even when you see that, I don't know if y'all saw this part, but on the documentary, there was a part where him and Mos Def were rapping.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
just turned
Most
the
Def was
gas
fucking
on.
floored. Most Def was like, damn.
Yeah, remember he turned the gas on, and at that
He
moment,
took it and he ran with it.
yeah, if y'all watch that again, you could tell like it was over, but Kanye just added some extra shit, and he had to give it that much more gas, and you could tell like he was that hungry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could hear the hunger in his voice. It was
You could hear it.
different. He was hungry.
Yeah, and then as the records came, like with all this, I can't remember that record. It was Pablo something.
The Life of Pablo.
It was all sex, really, that he was rapping about. Like everything was, I fucked this model, I did this, I did that, and I think that's where Kim introduced him to that world in Hollywood.
Mhm.
Very
Y'all stop
sexual.
blaming stuff on Kim, man.
No, I'm not blaming her.
it-
I'm not blaming her.
He's saying
He's
he's
now went into
environment.
her world though. Now he's going into her world, into
Mm-hmm.
LA. Y'all have heard me talk about LA all the time.
No,
It's a different ball
I
game.
disagree
It's
with
a
that.
LA is
different
its
ball
own
game.
world.
I know that, but hold on. Two things. Number one, he was like that. Even
No.
you heard his mama talking about even in talent shows how he was super competitive and like that. Number one. Number two, in his very first album, before he got super notoriety, in his verses, he would talk about how he's, self-conscious. That's what he talked about. He want to get the new things, just say you ain't up
And
on.
now he got it.
But what I'm saying is, you can't say somebody else turned you out of that life. He always desired that lifestyle. He always
did.
desired the acclaim.
He's
He
got
always
a porno
desired it.
mag.
It's just
in the
like all of
damn
us desiring to be millionaires or billionaires.
I'm just saying, don't blame that on
Once
nobody
you
else.
get introduced to it, no, I'm not blaming her. I'm just saying she introduced him to that world, the fashion world. She really brought him in on a level that you couldn't get on unless you're around somebody like that.
He was
And
he
then he
was
still
looking to
wasn't
find a way to
accepted.
get on that level.
And
He
regardless.
really put Kim on the fashion scene, but I think that her lifestyle. I think environment matters. Like, when he's in Chicago, look what's around you. Look what was around him. He had to rap about what was around him. You're in LA. You are a millionaire. What are you gonna rap about? I'm gonna rap about my car and all this crazy
Not
stuff.
Chicago shit.
Not
Have y'all been
Chicago.
to LA?
So
Have y'all been to LA to the parties out in LA, the mansion parties? Y'all know what I'm talking. Have y'all been to
Yeah.
it personally?
It's different than what you expect.
It's like
50 times.
if y'all ever saw the movie Eyes Wide Shut, that's probably the closest you could get to it. Like it's on some shit like that. It's on some different.
That's what they're saying.
It's almost like that's where the business deals are made.
But yeah, that's what
It
it
is.
is. He got
Jump
to
in,
LA,
Doc
he
Deuce,
started
what you
talking LA stuff. I don't think that had as much to do with him as a lot of people want to say.
Hold on, Doc. Am I tripping or is Doc sound a little muffly?
It's little
A muffled?
You
muffled.
There's something
might
going
want to
on.
check that wire in your mic.
Sounds like a wire.
That's what it
little
sounds like, is a
static from
wire
the mic,
maybe.
And then it's an echo over, but
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 I'm not blaming. I don't want to blame Kim. I'm not blaming Kim. I'm just saying when you share your world, I don't think Smack was trying to say that it was Kim's fault. He's just saying when you are living and you with someone, you're going to be in their world as well, and so you're starting to blend things, and you start to pick up things, and you start to see things, and you're gonna rap about what you see, what you hear, what you do. You know what I mean?
Because remember, he came from the rap world.
straight
Now
up, like straight up rap
Now
world.
you're going into LA, into Calabasas, Hollywood, total different animal, like a total different.
It's like
thing.
culture shock.
How's this? Any better?
And now,
still a
let's
little
keep
weird,
it
but I
real.
can catch what
Let's
you're
keep it
saying
real.
though.
So then Kim was allowing him to sexually indulge with other females. Both of them were doing it.
Oh, you keep blaming Kim
Y'all
on
know,
this.
I'm not blaming her.
It sounds
She
like it.
introduced him to that world. Tell me I'm wrong. She introduced him to the world.
So you hold on. You saying he wouldn't have had access to that world had he not met Kim or been
He
with
would
Kim?
name another rapper has access in that world.
Any rapper who sell 50
No,
million records,
no,
they
not-
can get access to
no.
it.
Everybody don't have Kanye
No,
and Kim
everybody ain't got
access.
that access. Everybody's
I
not
disagree.
sitting on the plane with Versace and all these guys that are in the fucking fashion iconic upper echelon.
So you saying he didn't have an interest in fashion until he met Kim?
No, I did not say that. I said she introduced him to that world in LA and Hollywood, which is a total different world. Sex parties where hey,
because
we're
he
going,
wanted to be introduced.
like right now. No, like right
introduced.
Now. Like right now, we're going to a party, right? But the party y'all are gonna go to in Austin ain't shit on the level of you walking in the door and you're met with, hey, somebody's walking around with a plate full of lines, like you're just doing that's like an appetizer. Then you're going
right.
rooms have different things going on. And hey, do you this girl can pop it off in 3 strokes. Oh, do you want to try it? Yeah, man, go try that. Boom. Oh, that was great. Then you're trying drugs, you're doing all these, you're watching sex acts. It's hard to explain unless you've been there.
That's what I'm saying. There's certain
Well,
things.
the thing
So
is,
even
too,
let's go
in
on a
addition to
lower
that-
level. Even let's go on a lower
No,
level.
no,
There's certain
it's-
things you just don't have a desire to do.
Have y'all ever had a friend
It's
that
not
never
just-
was into drugs and somebody introduced them to drugs and next thing you know they're a full-blown drug addict?
It's usually their partner. It's usually their boyfriend or girlfriend.
That person introduced them to that world.
And there's some people who, if they know drugs are going to be at that party, they don't go to the party because they're not interested in that
But
lifestyle.
if you're trying to get Kim Kardashian and she's in that world, you're going.
You are blaming it on Kim. Stop saying that you ain't blaming it on Kim.
But she still introduced you to it. Because you couldn't have got in. Look, you couldn't have got in the party. You couldn't have got in the party unless you were going with her.
I think you give Kim too much credit because I don't think.
No, I'm in the industry. I'm telling you.
You don't know. You in the industry, but you don't know that.
I've been to the Bunny Ranch. I've been to the Playboy Mansion. I've seen it. I've been there firsthand looking at it.
It's true, guys. He's not kidding.
Kim with that line on her wrist and she put it up.
I know it's hard for y'all to really fathom this shit, but I'm telling you, and I'm keeping it.
If you got there without Kim, why couldn't Kanye?
Say what?
If you got there without Kim, why couldn't Kanye?
Well, I got there through some other people that got us in there. I was with Roy and them.
So
and
why couldn't Kanye?
It was another higher up person that got us to the party.
Kanye didn't know higher up people. He didn't know Jay-Z.
No, not this is past. Put it this way.
That was a very good question.
The one, okay, it's a good question. The one that Kim has introduced him to, that's way above the Playboy Mansion. Way above. That's super echelon levels up. Way above it. Way above it. Like think about it. There's levels to it. Let's go here.
That's like people blaming Bobby for Whitney.
Look at the Jeffrey Epstein.
Later
Look at
came
the
out,
Jeffrey
no,
Epstein
Whitney was just
level.
doing Whitney. Whitney wasn't turned out by Bobby.
Look at the Jeffrey Epstein level. Just think of the level you'd have to be on to get to that party.
He's right. He's
I'm
so right.
I'm trying to tell you.
LA's its own culture too. It's like the behaviors that you see him do, that's normal. That is blending in with the culture. That is how LA culture, that's Hollywood. That's Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
I know y'all.
It's when you're in the location for long enough, you pick up on the habit.
Remember what was the guy's name? Weinstein, that was dangling his balls out for the girl. Hey, you want to be in this movie? Like, this was gonna take. Remember that? Yeah. And they did it because they felt like, well, he was dangling my career. That's a regular thing in Hollywood, man. That's like I tell you. It's almost like that's how they seal.
So they forced Kanye into a life of fashion.
Extreme is normal there.
I'm trying to tell you.
Yes, Denise.
Denise, you know you in New York. I know they didn't invite Denise.
Yes, Denise, jump.
So
I didn't hear you.
I haven't. Well, okay, I'll say for this, for example, there are levels. Just because you are famous, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
It keeps spotting in a little bit, in and out. See, I can't hear you right now.
Okay, I'm super delayed.
Now we hear you.
Okay. Yeah,
but
it keep
there
spotty.
are levels, right?
I can't catch you, spotty.
I can't either. It's okay. So it's not just me.
She's got to come in.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Well, and you mentioned blaming Kim. Like, I don't necessarily think that it's blaming,
No, I'm not blaming her.
faulting per se, as opposed to just like, if you meet new people and they do different shit, like, and you be around them, like, you by default are going to be exposed to the different shit that they do. Like, you might get into different things and be in places and spaces on different levels that you hadn't been on or wouldn't have been on had you not known this person. I don't necessarily think so much that's blame. I mean, I got some shit I can blame Kim for, but we haven't got into that yet.
So think about it. If he's been fighting the entire time in the industry to get in, now he's being invited to these where you can't just get in those kind of parties. So now it's like, either what are you gonna do now? You done fought all this way. Well, man, I'm really trying to do a fashion thing. So now I want to hang out with all these fashion icons on this plane, and all of a sudden, a gay orgy breaks out, and you're just sitting in the corner, like, well, I ain't gonna say nothing because I don't want to rock the boat, or because this is what they do.
That's normal. It's nothing.
Yeah, that's how they do
is.
it, man. I'm telling you. And then next thing you know, it might be whoever. I don't know. Johnny Versace might say, "Hey, so Kanye, you want them shoes to come out?" I mean, and then
I'm missing your point on this, Mac.
I know it's probably going over y'all's heads because
it ain't over my head. I just don't got your point.
Y'all haven't been around it. I'm telling you, it's wild, dude. It's like,
I'm not saying I don't believe you. I'm saying, what's your point to it though? Like,
right.
What does that have to do with him being the way that he is right now?
Okay. So my point is, now there's probably other things he's done too. There's probably other things he's been to. So what I'm saying is, so now you're involved in things like that. This could drive you crazy.
Or drive you more into your religion too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So now
that might be a catalyst for him being like, I need to turn back to the Lord.
That. Yeah. So like, to me, it's like you got to add in all that shit. Like it's like that's a whole nother ballgame.
He also found God after. This is another thing I got with people who do that. He found God after he said slavery was a choice.
Oh, God,
people always y'all be forgetting that people always find ways to hug back up the black
as
people.
if Jesus walked wasn't on the very first album.
No, we are not going to act like Sunday service started after that comment.
I'm sorry, say that again.
We are not going to act like Sunday service started after that comment.
I can't.
Yeah, no,
how come I can't?
He was doing that way before.
No,
did Sunday service happen after that comment?
Long time.
No. He had been doing that. It just became big.
So he decided to nationally push Sunday service.
There's a dude.
People stopped messing with him when he said slavery was a choice
for that church service. He been doing that. That's been something he was doing.
And Fantasia been doing that too, but she ain't did no national tour, no national gospel tour. It's two different things. You doing it in your leisure time versus you say this is going to be the thrust of my image from here on out. That's two different things.
But remember, he started with Jesus Walks, so that's always been a part of him. That's always been.
I didn't say it wasn't a part. Exactly. I didn't say it wasn't a part of him, but he did 5 more albums that wasn't gospel albums.
So now that he's not signed at the time, and now he can do what he wants, here you go. He's got a church service thing. He's got all these things.
You can
doing.
say that. I can say.
I just think.
I'm saying historically. Every time politicians they mess around, say some crazy racist stuff, what they do? Go to the black church. We got to get in the good graces of the black people again, so we can go ahead and get these votes.
No, that is not what Kanye was doing.
Yeah, I don't
that
think
is not what Kanye was doing. It just was.
What
not.
was it? Tell me, what was he doing?
I think he just grew and he was ready to do that. He wanted to change up and do something new. That's all.
He had been starting to make that shift. If you listen to Life of Pablo, how he started off Life of Pablo with Ultralight Beam, he was starting to already make that shift, and I think that tug just started tugging on him even more. You know how it is when you start to get older and you feel like God is calling you to do something, and you may have ran for a little bit of time, and then now you feel like, all right, now it's time for me to sit in my truth and really do this. I have a family now. I'm married now. It's not like I'm out here single and splitting it up. Like I have things in place to where it's like, okay, well, maybe I can start to make that move in that direction to be super, super Christian now. And then you got to also think he went from being $50 million and even with him making, Kanye's doing this thing. So you got to think.
I'm not looking at you spotting a little bit. That's why I'm just trying to catch what you're saying. Go ahead.
But you got to think he's really in his mindset, like, I really need to be grateful. Am I still spotty?
A little bit, but we catching you for the most part. Keep going.
Okay, so when you know your life has turned around and you want to be grateful and thank the Lord for everything that happened, you might go full Christian because you know your life could have been something completely different.
It's a possibility. That is a possibility. It's also a possibility that black people turned against him because he said slavery was a choice.
Yeah.
And that's also a possibility. That timeline adds up as well.
Y'all want to get into that comment?
I'm sorry, say that
Do
again.
y'all want to talk about that comment?
Yes, let's talk about it.
It's true. Slavery is a choice. At any time we could have and there was, let me say this. There was revolts. From the time we got on that ship to the time we got on the plantations, there was revolts. That's when you do that, that's saying you do not want to be a slave and you have a choice. You can die or you can be a slave. Technically, he said nothing but facts.
No, I ain't gonna say nothing but facts. There's elements of truth to that statement. Elements of truth to that statement.
Why did you say deny that statement?
There's other people who can argue if your other choices do this or death, then they wouldn't call that a choice. And it's still and I'm not even arguing to say he was totally wrong. Whenever you say stuff like that, you better give the right type of context and you better fully explain what you're saying, number one. And then number two, it was he didn't give context, and it's not completely true. Like I said, there's some people who say if my only choice is do it or die, well then damn, do I really got a choice? And for people to say, well, you always got a choice, everybody don't look at it that way. If my only choice is do it or die, everybody don't call that a choice.
If you gotta die, then you don't have a choice.
So that's my point. Some people will say that's not a choice, and other people say, "Well, you can choose to just jump off the boat." Some people like, I don't consider that a choice.
The timeline that I think he was covering, though, when he talked about 400 years of slavery, I think came up to present day. And he's talking about the new slaves. You know, in addition to the actual physical bondage that we were in, we still are under certain, mental bondage that certainly is much more of a choice than. The chattel slavery we were subjected to back in those days.
Right. And since I'm a rapper, so I catch metaphors. I catch context and metaphors when people saying things. But that don't change the fact. People were outraged by what he said, and a lot of people jumped off his bandwagon when he said that.
I mean, that's like saying
that
right now.
Happened, then unite, man.
That's like saying right now, if you want to meet Jesus, I mean, just kill yourself.
Oh my God!
You got a choice.
Go be with the Lord
right now. You got a choice.
You got a choice. You can go be with the Lord right now.
You got a choice.
Why you wait? Why you gonna sit through all of this? Just go and do it expeditiously.
Expeditiously.
Don't you lean on me.
Jump. Kill your brain cells, son. That's why you do it expeditiously.
I think, like y'all were saying, there's some truth to it, but it's not a full statement of like, nah, because then there was probably some people that did that. They were like, I'm gonna just kill myself. I'm not gonna be no slave. And there was some people that said, well, I'm gonna wait for the right time to spring on these motherfuckers. We gonna take the boat over. We gonna do whatever. Then there was other people that had kids, and they were like,
yes,
I gotta try to survive because survival kicks in.
Right.
So it's not about being a slave like that. It's about, hey, yeah, I'm a slave, but I'm looking for that opportunity to get away. I'm trying to get back. But if I just kill myself because these people captured me right now, I mean, it's like prisoners right now, right? Hey, you don't have to be a prisoner. You could just kill yourself. Well, some dudes are trying to get home to see their mama.
Right.
That's
true.
I mean?
So it's kind of like but that's one of those things. It's like I get where he was trying to say, but it was kind of like, again, until you're in that position, it's like, okay, let's take. Now here you go. Now, I don't want to get your channel shut down. Fuck it, I'm saying it anyway. It's like, all right, when y'all were in Auschwitz, hey man, y'all got a choice.
You about to get us shut down. That's it. Look, we can talk about the slavery all day, but you can't.
You can't talk about no JEWISH Sid. You can't talk about none. You can't talk about JEWISH things.
Okay,
You can't even spell it out,
You can't say that.
You know they
oh,
spell it.
let me
They
make
Okay.
it the rent is
JUISH.
when the rent is due, you got a choice too. You need to pay it or don't pay it.
I mean, you got the choice, but it's gonna be
And I disagree with calling that a choice.
And when all else fails,
Can I say this, y'all?
Hold
on, y'all. Hold on. There was a point in slavery where there was, if somebody didn't choose to run, right? If Harriet Tubman didn't choose to figure out this path to get everybody to freedom and choose to go back to get more people, and some people chose to go with her and some people chose to stay. Like, if we're thinking about it like from the boat aspect, okay, of course, like you could just jump or whatever, that's not really a choice. But there was a point where it was like a viable choice that could have been made. It was a scary one, but you could have potentially gone to freedom. You could have potentially died on the way as well.
Y'all watch Roots, right?
At some point, you did have a choice.
Y'all watch Roots, right? Y'all watch Roots, right?
I kind of watched a little bit. I don't really like slave movies.
Well, Kunta, he was a born native. Let me just really quickly. He ran. Yes, he ran. He got his foot cut off and all stuff like that. But when he had his first child, he stopped running. It's a difference when you have a child. The choices that you would make versus the choices that you wouldn't make totally change, because you're not just your choices. Your children will suffer the consequences of the choices that you have. Things change.
So let's take that sentiment back to what Kanye is doing right now.
Good job, Nikki.
Let's do it.
I mean, literally, that exact sentiment. He went from having no brothers and sisters. His mom dies, and you got to think about how many of these things have taken place since his mom died. And again, this is not the catalyst for all things, but when we talk about a mental health breakdown, like this is literally what this is. So now he's losing his children. He doesn't have anybody else left. Like when women do wild ass shit, they call it histrionics, right? Like this histrionic ass woman, she just doing crazy shit. Like he's doing crazy shit. He's now a parent of 4 children. He now has something different to lose. He has something different to live for. He has something different to fight for. And, we were talking about blaming and stuff earlier, and I don't know how long we're going to go tonight, but, I think that, and I don't want to blame Kim either for some things, but she does need to take responsibility for her actions and her part of this. I've seen conversations take place over this week of women who have talked about having crazy partners. Tierra used the word narcissist earlier. And, some of us have fucking PhDs in having narcissistic, partners in our lives. And so if you've been with a crazy, unfortunately, you also know you have to operate a little bit differently with a crazy too. And that's not necessarily like co-signing on their behaviors or enabling their behaviors, but there's just certain eggshells you do got to walk around when you deal with crazy people. And regardless of what their relationship situation was, her parading this goofy ass dude around for the whole entire world to see, right after filing for divorce, what did she think was going to happen? Like Pete can't fight Kanye, first of all, so it sure as hell wasn't like she had Pete around to flex on Kanye, but for the sake of her children. So now he's got his kids potentially being exposed to what shit his mom has going, what shit their mom has going on, simply because they're going to be following her, they're going to be recording her, they're going to be snapping pictures every single time these two get next to a window, and it's poking the bear. And I think it's a really dangerous thing to do, and I don't think that people are looking at that as where she has some responsibility. Somebody said to me the other day in a comment about that they weren't going to slut shame Kim. And I was like, I didn't slut shame Kim. I just said that I thought it was really irresponsible for her. She should have kept her private life private for herself and for her children. Somebody else had said
he was doing things too, and he wasn't private, so that's not fair.
And that was one of the first things when he was running for president. He talked about her about to have an abortion. She didn't want that out. That was something that was personal for her, and he decided to divulge
Yeah,
that
see, and I don't
information.
know about these things, but I also was taught that two wrongs don't make a right. Like, I mean, I don't. There has to come a time where, especially as a parent, in these types of situations where you have a divorce happening, a separation happening, there has to be a righteous road that's taken. Like, just because one person's fucking stupid and petty doesn't mean we fight petty with petty or stupid with stupid or hurt with hurt, because hurt people continue to hurt fucking people. At the end of the day, the only people who are going to pay for both of these two people's behavior is their kids. They're 4 kids. And we already
I
see
agree.
what being a celebrity kid, the damage that being celebrity children does to children as they get older. Like, these kids are already kind of fucked up because they're celebrity kids. But then
So
to
what
add
she
all this
shouldn't
other stuff
have
into the
dated a
mix,
celebrity figure? Is that what you're saying?
say that again?
She shouldn't have dated a celebrity figure. She should have
No,
took a longer
you
time
do
before
not.
she started dating.
I
Because I
just think
mean,
Yeah,
that she should have just
her
kept
hiding
it
from the camera is just not
private.
gonna happen.
Well, did
They don't
you
have
make
a
it
private
happen?
life.
You make it happen. You make it happen.
Nikki,
If you're
that's
trying
how
to
can we
fair to
really
protect
say
your
her.
that?
children, you make it
Can we say
happen.
that? Can we say that, Nikki?
What?
We are not in a position. They have people hanging outside of their house
Right.
over the hills. I mean, just them trying to lead a private life in anything, that's a very hard thing to do.
Well, then
And just because it's
Please,
easy for
you
us to
gonna
do it, we can't
then
protect.
you have to figure that out. Like, you
I
have to figure
am
that
not
out.
figuring that out. I'm moving on. He can parade his women around. I'm going to go date. Fuck
When it's over,
Kanye. I mean, when it come to that, you know
I
what I'm
mean,
saying?
and
I'm
that's
not
cool.
gonna be.
I
I'm
just,
with you on
like
that
I
one,
said,
Tiara.
I'm just
I'm with you on
particular
that
about
one.
what my children are exposed to. Because at the end of the day, we can do whatever the fuck we want to. But if our
They
kids pay the
actually
price,
exposed
if our kids pay the price
for
for
sex
our
acts.
actions and our immaturities and our pettiness, then what the fuck are we doing as parents? What are we showing
And
them? What
then
are we
see,
teaching them?
we
Them are
also make the
different
mistake.
kids.
We think that just because it's news to us, that we in our minds we think, oh, they broke up and then they broke up on a Thursday and now Tuesday she with this other dude all of a
Right,
sudden.
right.
That ain't what happened. You peer in on that stuff sometime, but it could have been months. It could have been months and months and months before they actually came out. They could have been split way before we knew it.
I
And then
mean,
you think about it, it could
they're
be
still married, they're still married. And I realize that maybe in
I
celebrity
mean, what
world that don't
difference does
mean
that
shit
make?
to people, or maybe, on your fourth marriage it doesn't fucking matter anymore. You can just have another one and you can leave one and you can have another one and you can leave one. But when you bring 4 kids into this world with somebody and they're crazy and they're throwed and they're bipolar and they got a whole bunch of fucking trauma that's probably not been dealt with, like, that is definitely a
I'm just
responsibility and a
saying,
risk you take on as a partner, but you have
when
to
you're
handle them a
saying that
little
she has to
differently.
take responsibility too, I just don't know in what way she should be taking responsibility for how you say that.
I just think it was I just think it was a poor decision for her to parade this little boy
Trish,
around when,
I'm
she's got
sorry,
this
Nikki, go ahead.
unstable man.
She can't cater to his unstableness. That's why she left.
It's not about catering. It's not about catering.
a
It's about making a
question.
better decision to avoid drama and potential conflict and anything that's going to cause a rift in me trying to have a harmonious anything for my household, for these children. And
So how long she supposed to wait for that? How long she wait? Because he gonna be crazy.
I
Like
mean,
that for
damn, at
about
least
30
until the motherfucking ink is signed and she's divorced. At least until she's
He's
divorced
not.
legally.
He is not going to stop. Divorce stop.
And that's fine. And she has no control over that.
Yeah, that
But
ain't for
there's
me to
things that
slow
you
my
can
life
do.
down
There's things
because
that
of
you
that.
can do to poke and provoke somebody. And those are just things I would
Isn't
not
she-
sign up to do.
I got a
Honestly,
question.
I mean, she had to.
Go ahead, Trish.
Isn't she going to law school right now?
I think she was.
I think so.
I
Yeah,
think she
she-
went
she
past
is.
her bar.
Still law
She passed
school?
her bar. She passed
She
her bar.
did.
Yeah, because
Oh, the
I've
baby
known
bar or
enough
something.
people-
Yeah.
Dude, I've had family members go to law school. I know people. I'm friends with lawyers and stuff. And to be honest, now that I think about it, like those kids, are gonna need their other parent because she's not gonna have. You don't have time in law.
But I don't mean she's gonna be
I
a
don't-
full-time lawyer.
Dad's
I think
probably
she's
better
doing
than
it for the
nanny.
sake of pushing the cause, like I guess for she's trying to do a lot of prison release type stuff.
Right.
So she's trying to get
Yeah, so
educated for
I
that
mean,
reason.
Dad's
I think
better
she
than a
wants to
nanny when
co-parent.
it comes to babysitters during law school. You know,
co-parent.
if
I
they're
don't think
gonna
she
live
wants
right
keep
next
the
to each
kids
other,
away.
huh?
I don't think she's going. I don't think she does not want. I think she wants to co-parent with Kanye. I think she don't want him across the street, but I do think she wants to co-parent with Kanye. I do believe that the birthday situation, I can see it both ways. I can see it as, okay, we're not together no more. You go have your birthday party. I have mine. I can see it Kanye's way.
Right.
Yes.
I can see it Kanye way, and he wants to be included.
No,
you know, because
you throw your own birthday party.
Agree.
And furthermore, you getting on social media live and you putting all this, that further explains why you probably wasn't invited to that. Look at the way that you acting.
Agreed.
I see why she didn't invite you.
Agreed.
I disagree with that. My thing is this: if I have a child with somebody and we're freshly divorced and this is their first birthday and all these people are there and this child is young and then their mom is not there, what? That doesn't make sense to a kid. That doesn't not
mom has her own party.
Would you want to see daddy fighting mommy's boyfriend?
There you go. If you can't be mature in a breakup, if you cannot be mature in a breakup, you do not get to come. You just don't.
That's trying to fight people. That's why I'm like, no, you're not coming around. I'd rather us have two different birthdays than you see a whole fight break out in the middle of a party. That don't work.
A boyfriend should not be allowed at my child's birthday party, because why are y'all even meeting my kids right now?
Ooh. I mean, but so many people's stances. Why can't she be happy? Why can't she go do what she wants to do? This is her life. This is her house. This is her kids.
She can be happy.
So Denise,
she cannot be bringing her new boyfriend around my kids. That's how I would feel.
Ooh.
What if they got married 2 months later and that's her husband? Hold on. What if they got married 2 months later and now that's her husband and not her boyfriend?
We still got to have a discussion. These my kids.
Oh, okay. So it ain't just about the boyfriend.
Ooh, this is
Q.
It ain't just about the boyfriend. See, people try to say this. You don't be bringing no random people around my kids.
Right.
And say, okay, we married now. Now what? Well, now you got to run and then see the line keep moving all the time. So, it just wasn't that we wasn't married, because now that we are married, then you still got an issue with it.
2 months don't.
You just don't want nobody else around your kids, and you got to realize when there's a divorce, that type of stuff gonna happen. You cannot regulate another person's relationship once your relationship with that person is over.
I can regulate the relationship with my children.
You really can't.
I can.
You can regulate your relationship with your children, but you cannot regulate anybody else's relationship with your children. Not when it comes to their other parents.
You can do. That's what you can do.
I am so shocked at the parents right now. Let me tell you what. So
I'll tell you what I know on this.
Case in point, parents versus not parents.
Denise, wait, I started by saying I can see both sides.
Right. True that, for sure.
I can see both sides. I'm listening. I get it. I get it.
Right.
So,
right.
Hold on.
In a perfect world, we would co-parent with our ex. In a perfect world, we would have Christmases together and birthdays together. And some years I can, some years I cannot. Some years I will fucking not, because this is their Christmas. This is their birthday. We are not together. You can have all the parties you want at your place, but if you cannot behave maturely and appropriately on my motherfucking terms for these kids, you can't come, and that's okay. And people say, oh, but the kids. Then go talk to that other parent who can't behave properly. Go talk to the parent who is being destructive. Go talk to the parent who is being manipulative and trying to use the children. Because I'm not. So stay out of my fucking ear. Go talk to that parent.
That's the most I agree with you in the last.
I know.
I brought y'all together.
When we agreed on this topic, like when it first came out, like what, a month, 2 months ago, I was like, damn, we actually agreed like heavy on the kids one. But we've both been in those situations, Q. We've had very long-term relationships, and we've had some crazy shit happen with our exes and things that, we do try to protect our children from things that we don't want them to be exposed to. And that doesn't make a parent being selfish. It's actually literally doing your job, looking out for your kid, and the adult emotions is not my fucking concern. My child having a happy memory and a good time is, and these motherfucking kids are 4. It's not like they're 14 and they're like, oh man, my dad came and didn't come and my mom this and they beat him up. Fucking 4. Them little girls ain't even gonna remember all that shit they had at their birthday. Again, that doesn't excuse bad behavior, However, I'm
Wait,
with you,
hold
T.
on.
I can see both sides of this. I can see both sides of that story.
Okay, I don't completely disagree with the separate party thing. I think you should be able to do it. My thing is, parents, keep it real. Y'all don't have a conversation with your co-parent and be like, before y'all introduce anybody to the kids, I need to meet them first. Y'all don't have that kind of discussion.
No,
I
don't.
I would probably have something to say after, I find out. But I mean, initially, before it even happens, I guess it's not on my radar like that. But if I hear like you
For
talking
what?
to
Do
some
I got to get
ratchet
your
shit,
approval?
Yeah,
no,
you
no,
should
no,
be
no,
able
no,
to
no,
trust
no.
a grown person and
Straight
the
up.
person that you laid with to make children with to have your children's
100.
interests in mind, to not
And
have
I
to
don't
run it
have
by you before
That's
they
the
do
problem.
something.
right. And I don't have a choice but to trust you. And if I don't trust you,
Right.
then I got to go back to the courts and
finna get my kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Straight up. If you don't like who your partner is with, then you go get them kids. Period. That's your option.
That's your
No,
option.
Denise,
They're going over to their house this weekend, and you got that girl over there that be doing drugs, like Kanye ex-girlfriend, whatever she was for a couple of months, doing heroin. You know what I'm saying? So like, I might be a little concerned. I'm sorry. Denise, on that, we gotta have a discussion. Yo, you got crack pipes over here? Nah.
Oh yeah.
We
Take
gotta
some
come on.
pictures. Take some pictures. Get it to the judge and get your kids.
Straight up. Go get them kids. If you
Yeah.
concerned about where they are and whose hands they're in, then go get your kids. But most people won't go get their kids, and really and truly, when the relationship is over, it's kind of, I mean, as honest as I can be, it's not your business who your ex sleeps with or who your ex.
It's your business.
I mean, we don't have to fucking like it, and we might not do those things to our ex by way of our children, but it ain't your fucking business. That's not your partner no more. And it would be nice to believe that you can trust them enough, like you said, Doc. You can trust them enough to know they not finna put my kids in jeopardy. Like me and my kids' dad. I don't, our co-parenting has always been an interesting story. The whole thing has been an interesting story for 22 years, but I'm never ever worried about who he's with when it comes to my kids. He's never going to bring somebody around my kids, first of all, that he's not serious about. They still are going to come first, and I'm not going to have a conversation with him about who I have around, our kids, because he knows I'm not going to bring anybody around that I don't vouch for, So no, those conversations don't have to always take place when you co-parent.
I don't think they always have to take place, but I do believe that in some cases they probably do.
I'm sure in most cases they do. But that's oftentimes an ego thing, though, too. Either you have an ego where you just got to know their business, or you really don't trust this person. And if you really don't trust this person to make good decisions with your children, why are you letting them go? We have to renegotiate. I don't trust you. My kids are not safe. So now you either let them go over there because you want the kids to go away for the weekend, or you just got some funny business about you and you want to fight with your ex over some petty bullshit that ain't got nothing to do with you. I'm just not.
Those are the other, you got to realize in these relationships,
So
when it's over, it's over.
Up, like, hey, I'm about to introduce them to my new girlfriend. Like, not even a heads up.
Nah. It depends. There's the relationship.
I think the level of maturity plays a part in this.
If both parties, the exes in the relationship, are mature and they're cordial, and this is the key word, their primary focus is the interest of the children, then a lot of times you can have those conversations. Oftentimes, one person, their sole interest is not about the children.
Right.
It's about trying to get back with them, trying to get back at them, trying to, it's a lot of stuff. It's more relationship focused, which the relationship is over. So ain't no reason to have these conversations.
Okay. So what would you say if you're the other person and this individual is bringing their kids around you early on? Would you feel comfortable?
Hold on, say this again. I'm the other person.
So you meet a woman.
Okay, she started bringing her kids around me.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
Personally, I grew into that. Even from a start, even when I was young, like 17, 18, I always most often dated women who had kids or multiple kids, or I mean, like in my young time. So I kind of was used to that. And sometimes it ain't no way to get around, especially when you're younger. If I'm gonna go out with them or if I'm gonna hang around them, then the kids gonna be around. Just wasn't no way
I've
around
been
it,
in
really.
situations where we did, it just happened to occur. And so, I asked him, I'm like, how do you want to do this? And we were just like on the same page when it's like, okay, well, I'm just a friend of the family right now, like
Right.
we don't have to tell the kids everything that's going on.
Right.
Like I can just say I'm a friend.
Yeah.
Be tongue
It's
kissing each other down in front of the kids and
what are we
That's
gonna
your
Right.
kick your
doing
ass
all
yeah,
that
lines
girlfriend
that's
for
that's
20
boyfriend stuff.
years?
uncle.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
but
That's your
the
uncle.
sad part is there are a lot of people that do that though. There's a lot of folks that don't have those boundaries in place and will bring every person that they're sleeping with around their children, man or woman. And
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm
Nothing you
like
can
you.
do about it.
No, and there isn't. There really is literally nothing you can do about it except be be the person that you do want your children to look up to, or be the person that you
Want them to
behave with
be.
principle in the way in which you want your children to believe that what you say is authentic and good, as opposed to seeing what the other person is doing and them probably sounding like a hypocrite. Um, to answer your
Yeah.
question, Denise, like my children, it's been 5 years since their dad and I separated. My kids have never seen me with another dude. I say my kids, the boys. My daughter, she's definitely been in a situation where she she met one of the guys I was seeing off and on for a while. But she's 25. But my boys, they've never they've never seen another man in my life, and but that's also a personal decision. I didn't want them to. I'd rather them see their mom not be with anybody else and see their mom be with whoever the mom was with. Like, no, everybody's not permanent. Everybody doesn't need to meet your fucking kids.
Yeah.
Everybody does not need to
Should
meet
not.
your children, and everybody
Should
doesn't
not.
deserve to meet your children.
Mm-mm.
Uh, and I did
And
read
if you're that
something.
person, you shouldn't want to meet people's kids.
Right. I don't want to meet your fucking kids. I would be so turned off by a dude who wanted to throw his kids on me really quickly. Ew, no. So that means you just introducing your children to all the women that you're with, or vice versa. Like, no, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a
Nobody
way
want
to look
that.
at it. But I look at it, that's a way of protecting myself. If you've ever been in a
Mm-hmm.
long-term relationship with me, I've been in a long-term relationship with someone who had kids. And when I
Mm-hmm.
broke up with them, I also broke up with the kids. And that was the most
That's fine.
painful part of it.
Yeah.
That really
And
hurt.
that sucks. That sucks.
We still have a
Mm.
relationship to this day, but for a period of time, it was years that, I was broke up away from the kids. After her and I got on a cordial friendship level, then I was able to
Mm-hmm.
kind of reconnect with the kids again.
On the
Mm-hmm.
other end too, like when my dad died, I got a hold of my former stepmother because I hadn't seen her since they divorced. I was like 10, I'm like,
Right.
man, that doesn't just fade away. So when dad passed away, I was like dialing her up. It's
Mm-hmm.
the kid too.
Now, I did
Yeah.
read something recently, and of course these things can change. That like Pete hadn't been to Kim's house whenever the kids were there, so that like
Mm.
obviously the kids would see the footage, of course, of everything that's out on in the news, but that like they hadn't actually met him because he hadn't been in her house when the kids were there. So you know I mean, there are choices. We do have choices, and yes, you do have to date, and you do have to move on, and if you want love, then of course you're going to have to move in the direction of finding love. But I just think that I don't know. I just think that there were some things that could have been done differently to maybe mediate some of this shit. But when you are dealing with crazy, you can do everything right, and crazy still responds, in a way that crazy does. But I think, like I said in the beginning, I think for me the biggest thing was just that people are putting him under this microscope as though he's some crazy erratic person. But we've all done crazy erratic shit, and we just weren't billionaires on camera 24/7, and just being human, man, and treating people with human gloves again. Because like you had posted the post earlier, Tier, about the woman that had reportedly committed suicide, and I read the
Yeah.
article to understand why you may have thoughts about, was this actually a suicide situation, or could somebody have maybe even fucking pushed her. But I read an article last week and I posted about it, about like some 11-year-old girl. I don't know where it was, but it was an 11-year-old girl who, you know, had been struggling, mental health issues. Don't know what happened. Literally, it was like just reported after the incident happened, but the girl left school, walked to wherever some bridge was in her town, and fucking jumped. 11 years old. 6th grade? Killing themselves? Why? Typically bullies. People looking at every fucking body else under a magnifying glass and poking and poking and poking and fucking poking people, and not treating people like humans, and just judging and attacking and criticizing. And like, you're literally seeing this happening right now with Kanye, whether you like him or don't, believe him or not, you know, whatever your feelings about him personally are. I mean, we're all entitled to that, but people are poking this motherfucker, and he is fragile. He is wounded. He
Well,
is
that's-
bleeding. And this is us every day, regular ass people.
Doing whole
Yeah.
podcasts about him and stuff.
Exactly. But that was my whole point, Doc, because that's why I wanted to talk about this, was to really, you know, hopefully have us look at our own shit while we over here judging other people and putting people on these pedestals. Like, we literally have some of these things happening in our own personal day-to-day lives that we don't even tend to those things, you know, to be judging somebody else and to be declaring what the next person's level of crazy is or should or shouldn't, or, you know, calling them a brat and a toddler and all these things, you know. And I don't generally come to nobody's rescue, but I understand how mental health and trauma affects a person's mentality. And I think that people just think because he's rich, he doesn't get the same what's the word grace offered to him.
Yeah.
So okay, this is what I was gonna say earlier. That's the other part where I think we were touching on that a little bit, and I was kind of shaking my head like, nah. When anybody, myself, Nikki, whoever, Smack, people who have strong opinions, and they voice those opinions openly, you open yourself up to criticism. Whether on a small level, whatever your circle is, your circle could be the world, your circle could be your community. When you give strong opinions, you open yourself up to that. So it's not just him going through that. He's a strongly opinionated person. So that's just the part that's gonna come back with it. You strongly opinionated person, then when you say something or do something crazy, you're gonna get some kickback. That's just the way it is. That I don't even know if that's piling. I don't know if that's, you know, that's why politicians get it so hard. Whenever they mess up, politicians get it real hard. They're strongly opinionated people, and they voice their opinions to the masses. That's part that you got to deal with. If you're not ready to deal with that, get out the light. And that's what I would say to the people I know. If they did the same thing, and I've seen some people do it, like, yo, what are you doing? If you're trying to get it back, this ain't the way to go about it. Get that ish off the media.
Yeah.
Don't be sitting up there getting on Facebook. And I've seen people where I live in my hometown venting about they ex relationship and they baby daddy and this, and they be like, yo, and I would just see a whole scroll, take this off, take this down. Don't do that. This ain't, whatever you trying to accomplish, this ain't gonna get it done. So
it's a self-inflicted wound. I think Kanye does to himself sometimes. You know, like he doesn't understand how he can create some of his own agony.
Right.
And I also think a little bit of it he plays up and dramatize because it gets him paid. Look at his streaming services that he created and sold his album through. I think tonight was his tickets that you can watch his show. He's getting mad attention, mad sales off of this. So I also think it's a little dramatized. It's almost like a soap opera. You know it's a train wreck, but you can't stop watching. And you also are invested in it if you're the person, because you got to keep giving and delivering more crazy, a better scene than last season. You know, that old
the Real Housewives or whatever, they'll do the same thing. It's like, I'm going through this. This is an emotional situation, but let's get these cameras, because I know at the end of the day, it's gonna be monetized as well too. So it's like, yeah, you really hurt, but I'm really gonna get this camera on here at the same time too, because this is how I make my living.
Right.
And this is
And
what I say also. This is the last thing I say, then Denise jump in.
Okay.
I tell people all the time, number one, you should not rely on one person to be your sole happiness. That's dangerous.
Right.
Mhm.
And what that also tells me, especially when I see people doing stuff like on whatever level that you're on, it tells me that you rely too much on that person for your happiness, and you were not developing your circle. Who's the people close to Kanye telling them, "Yo, you need to cut this out, dude. It's not a good idea." That you're close enough to where they can tell you, and close enough that you will listen to them when they tell you that. I have people close enough to tell me, "Hey, cut it out."
Thanks.
But it's both. It's go hand in hand. It's about
We
a
need to,
relationship.
right, but we are talking about, I couldn't believe that little
I call
clip
that Mike
I
Tyson
saw.
syndrome. Go ahead.
I got you. That little clip of Kanye screaming in Chance the Rapper's face, like as a grown man, to scream in another grown man's face. You didn't see that? Yeah, this was.
I didn't either.
I think this was during like before the Ye album. I think this was during that process. But yeah, there's a clip of him just like I'm like, yo, that's a grown. I don't understand how a grown man could even. I don't know. It's weird to me. But at the same time, what that says is he may have people close to him who are close enough to say something. But is he the one to listen? That's that. Yeah, they should go hand in hand, but they do not necessarily.
And that's why I say relationship, because relationship is reciprocal. And if you don't have people in your corner that, number one, will tell you, and number two, you trust enough to take their advice over your own emotions. I got people, when I know I'm emotional, I make sure that they in my corner, and I literally lend on them to tell me what to do, because I trust they have my best. They have my best in mind, and they'll tell me, "No, you're doing too much right now. Chill out."
But think about how many snakes there are in the industry.
That's a problem.
There's nothing but snakes in the industry, and you saw all the rejections that he got in that video. I really think that when his fucking mama died, like that was it. He didn't have anybody. I don't know. Did he even have friends? He never talks about family.
He isolated.
He's been in there the whole time.
No,
he isolated himself, and
yes,
when you got money,
you got to take responsibility for isolating yourself.
A lot of those friends drop by the wayside because you cannot literally physically pull everybody up because they will become leeches. So when he started getting a certain level of success, a lot of those friends that he probably had connections with back in the shy and growing up fell to the wayside because you know how some friends cross the line. And then that relationship is ruined. Money comes power, and power, brings out the worst in us.
Well, not only that, but on top of that, when it comes to money, like a lot of times people who are famous are going to hear good and bad stuff no matter what. They're going to hear criticism, and they got to decide what to take in and what not to take in. So they're going to listen to positive stuff. But that's why it's like, if you are in that kind of situation, what else is better to base your decisions on than business, than money? Because somebody's going to complain no matter what you do.
Right. Can I say this too, though? Kanye actually does still have a lot of like childhood friends. Like Don C was somebody that he's been friends with this whole entire time, that he's still friends with to this day. He was in his wedding and all that. So he does have people that he's been friends with. And people who are close to Kanye will tell you that they get on Kanye's ass. And people that Kanye considers close to him will say that they will tell him not to do these things. But Kanye's not the type of person who is going to listen. It doesn't matter how close he is to you.
He's one of the most successful people in existence, and so it's like,
so that's a
how
character
can you
flaw.
tell me how to do the things when you've seen what I've done?
Right.
Yeah.
Who are you to try to tell me how to go about this? The way I've gone about things has worked out for me. Yeah, there've been some mistakes, but I've always been able to snap back and pull it back. So I got this. I can see that being a potential response to any advice he might give.
And that's the power complex. And Trump has the same DNA in the same regards. He's intentional. Trump is intentional about not saying he's a failure and anything, and he'll lie.
Right. But he's not gonna say it.
He's not gonna say he's a failure. And he knows like everybody around him is telling him this, right? He
Right.
literally have his whole family was telling him this.
Kanye admits his faults stuff. Eventually, when the world comes down on him hard enough, and I think that's what it takes. He's got his friends and his people, but when the world really comes down on him, he's what just happened?
I said I disagree. He'll be like a pity party. Poor me. Like I got screwed. Like he'll still make it about himself.
I'll say
It's hard for him to fall.
I don't know. I mean, herein lies, like you said, Tira, the self-defeating fucking behaviors, self-inflicting behaviors, and ego will get you. Ego. I mean, but it's like anything else. Like you got to scrape fucking rock bottom, to learn the lesson. But that ego is something else. I mean, and there's no doubt about that. But you also can't be a billionaire and not have ego. I don't think that you can make that to that level of status to be able to be a billionaire. You've got to have enough ego and confidence and drive.
Especially when you built it and didn't just get it from investments.
Right. Like you didn't inherit this money from somebody else. This shit was from ground up.
And then as being a black man, this power and this type of wealth. You look at the Amazon CEO, yo. He just said, "I'm gonna move a bridge because I want my yacht."
Girl, a historic bridge at that.
He told them people, "Move that bridge." That's power, yo. A historic bridge.
Yep.
Kanye.
And I have to say this too. Speaking to the fact that this is a black man who became a billionaire. This is a black man from Chicago who was a producer, then was a rapper, and then you have all this stigma around being a rapper, then took that and built that and created his own company. Like, I just think Kanye just need his credit. Like, to be a black man and to go through all that on the way that black men are rejected and are shut down and oppressed, and for you to be able to get to where he is,
and to be black the whole time too. Like he's not just he's been like loudly black the entire time as well.
Right.
And that makes a difference too.
Right.
Well, and that also makes you a threat. So here's where your media painting comes into picture.
You over there hugging Donald Trump and all that. You lost a few points on that.
I get that.
Can I have a hug?
This whole monolithic idea of blackness means thinking the same as opposed to just representing blackness. Blackness isn't who you vote for. And that idea that who he aligns himself with in that regard, I think it's a weak way to try to.
I agree with that.
To try to discredit someone's blackness, like that's not cool.
And it's not that I don't disagree with you, but when just speaking the facts, when a community stands up, a community as a whole stands up against any particular person or a movement, you got to be sensitive. Steve Harvey got dragged on that too. Like, why are you over there? You know he here to do photo ops with black people. You know this. So why you go over there? Like, he got dragged on that too.
Go ahead, Denise. I'm gonna say something after you say. Go ahead.
Can we? Since we're here, let's get into it. So y'all talk about Big T, as they call him on the internet, Trump, Big T. Y'all talk
Big
about
T.
And Kanye taking
Goofy number one.
Right. But don't nobody want to talk about your boy Joe Biden and the money that he.
Oh, I will. I love to. I'm all about that shit.
Hold on. Yeah. The money that he took from the funding for HBCUs when his vice president went to a HBCU. But ain't nobody talking about how she's standing next to him. So let's get into it.
Okay.
So ain't nobody nobody taking up for him right now. I don't think. Go ahead, Tia.
Yeah. I think we should be able to criticize anyone for what they lack. Just like we could point out what Trump did wrong, we can definitely, damn for sure, point out plenty Biden has done wrong. I think that Yeah, I mean, we got to be honest with ourselves. Like, we can't.
I think we need to
sit
be
there-
honest with ourselves before we think we can be honest about what everybody else is doing. Honestly, I don't think people have figured themselves out enough to even talk. Right and wrong is different. I don't know, man. This whole idea of criticizing people. Why? Why do we need to criticize other people's actions?
make
How
it
perfect
better.
are we that we
Because
need to
they're
criticize
politicians
people's
and
actions?
they
In
work
a
for us.
political realm, there's
Well, political.
Yes.
I get it.
Criticism
Yeah,
is
yeah,
deserved
definitely.
and warranted.
Can I say this as a
Expected.
person that went to a HBCU?
True.
When I was going to HBCU, we were struggling then. We needed all of the funding we could possibly get. So anybody that is taking out money from what we have, they need to be strongly criticized because HBCUs provide so much for the Black community. And there are so many Black people that are where they are today because of HBCUs. We got to really talk about that because when you are trying to pretty much like take education away from Black people, that needs to be addressed, especially when you say stuff like you ain't Black unless you vote for me, but you don't really care about if Black people are being educated or not.
Mm-hmm.
Criticize.
Right.
Criticize all day and all night.
Yeah, I'm still pissed about that student loans. I need my check by. Where my student loan check at? Like, you're supposed to be eliminating at least 50.
Lies.
Kanye is
But
also
this is-
contrarian too. That's the other thing that you just gotta tell the
That's
truth
it.
about.
Politics, like, it's truly a game. They just want to say whatever they need to say, and this is all politicians. There ain't nobody above it. Nobody above it. Even Bernie, he's not above criticism. Elizabeth Warren is not above criticism. They always gonna do it.
Yep.
And it's not even about what you do. I'm saying when the masses of your group of supporters
And that's still
have
where I
come
was
together and they say we're against. We see these rallies going on, the Trump rallies, and they over there attacking Black women and hitting them and pushing them and doing all this other stuff. And people are saying, your supporters, the vast majority of Black people saying, we not rocking with that. And then you go up and you trying to shake hands and give them hugs. And I'm like, who? You know, it's an anti. It's really that's the anti thing.
Okay, can I?
Obama
this is
embraced
the idea
Jay-Z
of-
and Beyonce, so he like, I'm gonna get Trump to embrace me and my wife because he wanted to. He be trying to match with Jay-Z a lot of time, and that was his way to do it because he found a president that would embrace him versus calling him a jackass.
I mean,
let me do this. He took Kanye took it to heart when Obama said that. I really do believe he took that really to heart. That kind of crushed him. I think that really did.
Right.
But still, we gotta get out our heads that rich Black people are like us regular Black people. So we be thinking, oh yeah, they on our
That's
side.
what I'm saying.
No, they're not. They in the tax
That's what I'm
bracket side.
saying.
What?
That's what Chappelle was saying about Trump too.
So Kanye
Not all.
Okay,
if that was the case, then they would all be
on the
Republicans.
surface.
Then, if that was the case,
and they don't tell you.
That could be right too.
Publicize that stuff.
That could be right.
You see, but I guess part of what I'm also saying is the issue is what you brought up there, Q, about the community standing against something. The concept of completely separating yourself from something that you disagree with versus finding a way to get in and influence that, which they did, and a lot of brothers got freed from prison based on that.
True.
So while everybody's over here like, I don't want him talking to the president because I don't support the president, look at all these free Black men now.
But you ain't got to hug
what I
him,
mean?
though.
So it's like,
Think about what Ice Cube did. He was like, I ain't on nobody's
You ain't
side,
gotta-
but
You ain't gotta hug him.
That's here's the other thing about this supposedly being a Christian nation. If we show love, finding some stuff to hate, and when we see examples of love, we even trying to find something to hate in that.
Come on, Doc.
in Ecclesiastes, the book of Ecclesiastes, they say it's a time for everything under the sun. It's a time to love and a time to hate.
Right, but again, we spend so much time trying to find things to hate.
True, I
This
agree with
man
you.
went in there, saw an opportunity to align with someone in a position of power who could do things for his community. While everybody's out there yelling, you can yell "fuck Trump" as much as you want. What is that actually getting done?
But see, this is the
Nada.
thing. A lot of this.
Nada.
What did you going up up in
influence,
there by
actually.
yourself. What about the people
You know,
who've
Jay,
done
that-
this for a living? See, Ice Cube didn't say, let me go. Ice Cube brought some of the brightest, most learned minds who've been studying this stuff for a long time. He brought them together for the Contract for Black America. And they all helped put that together.
Yeah.
So it's not
And
me
And it was
trying to
phenomenal.
renegade and
It
do
was
something for myself.
phenomenal.
It was phenomenal, but it didn't get done.
No.
It did, but it shows where your
I'm just
shows where
saying,
your intentions
Trump
are.
got. I mean, y'all know I'm not a Trump supporter. You can bring all that shit, but Kanye got it done. Kim got it done.
Right. Right.
Joe
Yeah,
Biden
no,
didn't even meet with them. Wouldn't even meet with Q.
Right.
He wouldn't even
That's
meet
true.
with
Right.
Q.
That
Because
is
he
true.
never gave a fuck. And anybody who thought that he
Right.
did was sucking that fucking pipe. Like,
And they didn't even mention it until he met with the Republicans. Once he met with
the
them,
$30 million of crack
then they
pipes
were
he's
like,
about to
"Oh,
put
Q,
out.
what you doing? Hold on, we was gonna meet with you."
That's a crack fight.
Girl, the $30 million of crack pipe so he could, what was it? So he could, what was the words he used? Something about equality? I was just fucking floored. I was like, of all the things that black people have asked for and are fucking due.
So is we still
This
gonna
is
call
what,
Kamala Harris black?
look, was it
part of the team? She can be
was
black
it
and not be
PBS?
part of the team.
It was
What
PBS.
now she likes to say, FBA, Foundational Black American. She's not a foundational Black American in practice.
There was an article on PBS or NPR, one of the two, where she was actually defined as the first Asian American fucking president.
She was gonna be
I was
everything.
like,
I was gonna get that vote.
wow. Nowhere in there did it say anything about her being a black woman. It was the first Asian American vice president to do something or some shit. I was fucking floored. I was like, them chucks and pearls though, chucks and pearls all day.
But that was the reason they had her run, so she can have her hand in a lot of different pockets. She can get the women. She can be black. She can be Asian, Indian.
And she did.
She can
And she
did.
Identify as a turtle long as she gets it done. If she ain't gonna get it
right.
done, I don't care if you're black, white, you're penguin, or whatever.
See, but that's why we can't just monolithically support a party.
There we go.
You know what I mean? Like we really have to have real conversations.
Right.
I agree.
Right. Or a color. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. True that.
You know,
monolithically, is that a word? Whatever, you know.
Hell yeah, it's a great word.
We all got it if it wasn't, okay?
Right. We knew what you were talking about.
If you understand it,
we use it, so it's a word.
If you understand it, then it's a word.
Right. All right, so we're at 10 o'clock. Do we want to wrap up here?
Yeah, we can wrap up.
Yeah,
anybody have any last thoughts or comments or anything that needs to be said before we close out?
Denise, what you got? Wheel was attacking your boy today. How you feel? She looked like she was hurt for a couple of moments. She looked like her little heart was hurt.
I was ready to defend Kanye. My ex used to call me a Kanye apologist, so that should
see it in your face. I saw it.
But end up apologizing.
I was like, what?
End up
apologizing. Did you hear her and Smack going a couple weeks ago, Q? She was like, I am a stan. You can't tell me shit.
But I will say this. I do feel like with the group that we have today, I do feel like it was a fair conversation. I feel like it was fair. I feel like all viewpoints were expressed. I feel like even the things that I didn't necessarily agree with, I understood. You know what I mean?
Right.
I could say on a different day that maybe you were right. You know what I'm saying? So it was good that I felt like we had this open conversation. I will say this though. I don't want. Yes, I believe Kanye is bipolar. He has said this out of his own mouth. But I think if a person wants to rant or just do whatever they want to do, I don't think we should even always associate that with their mental health issue. That's just what they do. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We don't want to, and he's talked about this too, is just like the stigma that comes with mental health. It's like, why would people want to admit that they were bipolar when anytime someone admits that they have a mental health issue, anything that you do now is because of your mental health issue. And it can't be because I'm just being a normal human being. So I think we need to pay a close attention to that piece of things. And that's kind of like my main thing with this overall conversation is just letting a person be and it not having to do with anything other than them just being sometimes.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. I agree because I was saying that earlier. I said I think with Kanye, everything he does, it's painted with a mental health issue lens instead
Yeah.
of just a regular
Human.
human
Having a human
lens.
experience. Ain't that what Dave said?
And I think we as Americans, or just society as a whole, and I was thinking about this in the car. I just want to say this real quick about mental health, because mental health is so much of a topic these days, and should be.
Yeah.
We have to get out of the notions of the most extreme cases to look at mental health. So when we
Right.
look at
Yeah.
anxiety looks like you getting a power bill that is so expensive, you're like, what am I going to do? You
Yeah.
getting your rent increased and you have an anxiety because you're trying to figure out what you're going to do. The inflation, when you are locked up in a prison cell and you can't connect to your loved ones and you become depressed and sad, and you don't have a name for it, but you're
Mm-hmm.
sad. We got to talk
Mm-hmm.
about mental health in real everyday situations that anybody it can happen to.
Mm-hmm.
If you lose somebody you're close to, whether in death or just a breakup, hey, that sadness could be a part of depression, and it's
Mm-hmm.
okay. You have a
Mm-hmm.
right to be sad. I think we always classify mental health as like it's something like not justified. That's why it's mental. You're not just you shouldn't be sad. You're just depressed because it's green outside or something like that. No, depression is sometimes valid reasons why you should feel this way.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to change the stigmatism on
Yes.
how we show people what mental health is. And I think that if we can do that
Yes.
and show common things that we go through,
Yep.
stress, exhaustion,
Facts.
Hmm.
mental, these things, I think people will be more, you know, uh, be able to understand it better.
I agree
Yes.
fully. And I think just even knowing how to even call feelings is like knowing how to put a finger on what that feeling is important. To know what
Mm.
anxiety is. Anxiety isn't just nervousness. Anxiety isn't just the heart beating fast. Like anxiety, some people don't even know they have anxiety until a doctor says this is what this is. And then God forbid you throw a little depression on there. People think depression is just sad, 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 just sad, 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 sad all the time, and that's not always depression either. Depression is not knowing what the fuck is wrong, but something feels a little bit off, but I'm not really, really, really sad because I have good days, I mean, and I think that with so many things being compacted and compounded in our lives today with COVID and job loss and family loss, and you talk about the increase of inflation and rental, living somewhere, people are literally being displaced because they can't fucking afford to live in their cities anymore. Like, you take all of these things that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, most of us got some fucked up wiring and chemicals up here that we're just like trying so desperately hard to make it through every single day. And then you throw in some grief. I never really understood what grief was until I had to fucking process something I didn't know how I was supposed to process. And I'm just a regular ass person. Thank God I have some coping skills and some tools in my tool bag to not fucking sink every day. And everybody doesn't have that same experience. And so I think it's really important here. And that's why I did want to have this conversation tonight, not just to highlight Kanye per se as a celebrity, but as a fucking human. And how many of us are also struggling every single day and we don't have the answers. And we should stop just expecting that people should have the answers because they have this or they have that, or they're educated, or they have a nice car, or they have both of their parents still living, or whatever the fuck you think is the reason why you shouldn't have problems. Everybody has problems. We all do throw shit sometimes. We all have embarrassing moments. We all judge other people. I'm certainly guilty of judging other people, but this is part of me on my journey trying to be different and to be a better human and just be more kind. And whatever your situation is, might not have anything to do with me, but how can I help in situations where help is needed? And if it's just something simple as not entertaining talking negatively about somebody, let's say, like Kanye, I could do that. I could do that. Like, misery does love company. And, we all got some miserable fucking days and some moments and some experiences in our day-to-day life. And I don't know, something about this whole Kanye thing really rubbed me just the wrong way, because you see people attacking things that we kind of all go through. So I'm super grateful that you guys decided to join this conversation tonight and share in this conversation, because I do think it was important to really kind of bring some of this stuff to the surface. And I mean, in reality, we probably have these conversations with our friends outside of here, so we know this stuff is happening. So like, what do we do to contribute to the solution as opposed to contributing to the problem? And so that's what this conversation was about tonight.
Well, how you
For me, anyways.
Actually, the last thing you said is reading my mind, because like you have to. I think the most important thing to suggest to anyone in this world when it comes to this subject is, you got to learn about mental health disorders or mental health conditions. So like, if you're going to criticize people with, who are bipolar, you don't know which behaviors are from a bipolar and which ones are not. So you know what? Don't judge any of them. If it's there's so many things that people say about him that are like, I'm like, well, that's a symptom of bipolar. That might be his bipolar. Like, so many things, almost everything that people say. I'm like, yeah, that comes with bipolar a lot of times. I'm just like, I don't know.
And again, that's not a blanket for bad behavior. However, we have to have some understanding of where other people come from sometimes.
People need to learn about disorders. It's really important. Like, it's desperate right now. I mean, look at that kid who just did the shooting over in the Midwest. Like, his parents, the teachers were saying, oh, something's wrong with him. His parents might not have known what to look for in terms of mental health. I don't excuse them or anything. But you get what I mean? Like, some people, there's a lot of people out there who don't know what to look for or how to handle it whenever they or cross paths with it. Like, people just need to learn, and it's hard to do.
Well, I think the main thing,
we gotta try to learn.
Well, I think for me, this is what I observe. I think the main thing, well, it's not gonna happen. Let me say that first. But the first thing that will fix it, we have a tendency to look up to celebrities. And the one thing I appreciate about my mother more than anything else, my mother was never a respecter of person. It don't matter if he was a celebrity. It don't matter if he was homeless on the street. She treat everybody the same. And that's the one attribute that I appreciate that I've taken from her. I've met plenty of celebrities. I'm like, hi, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Like your work, and I keep walking.
Right.
And the same thing, I have a conversation with somebody who's on the street. It's like, it don't make a person is a person. Right. So when you have the mindset that a person is a person, you see those type of things and you don't say, well, all that money they make, how come the money don't matter? They're a person. They're a person up there, they're a person down there. And to me, there's no up or down. You're just people who go through life experiences. And if people would take that mindset, then you wouldn't place people on pedestals, or you wouldn't allow other people who've been placed on pedestals, you wouldn't look up at them as if they're actually on a pedestal. I'm like, you living your life, I'm living my life. My life good. Hopefully yours is too. Can I help you with anything? You need some advice or what you need? So I think that's the like I said, it won't happen because that's the way our society sets it up. They want you to look up and grab toward a success for the 0.001%, and for you to aspire to be those type of people. So Tierra, before you go, last thing I'm saying, the observation that I got from the documentary. Number one, it's a little bit off topic. Make sure that you always add value, like you have value to add to your circle. I noticed that he said from a little age, from when he was young, he wanted to rap.
Like 6 or something.
Yeah, he always wanted to be a rapper, and he started making beats because that was a way to get in the door. He never would have, even to as many times he got rejected, he never would have had the opportunities if he didn't have value to add around the people that were around him. Everybody wanted his beats, so he was always in a circle rubbing shoulders with those people. He had value to add till eventually he was able to get in the door. But then I say, like, two types of haters in the world. Number one, especially when you're dealing with celebrities. You have the type of hater who they hate you because they can't be you. Kanye, he on some genius level type stuff. Everybody can't do what Kanye. Most people can't do what Kanye do. Most people can't do what Michael Jackson did. Almost nobody can do that stuff. So you have people who will hate on you because there's no way that they can be you. And then you have other people. It's funny. I've mentioned this before too. Kim Kardashian. She's the opposite of that. You have people who will hate on you because they believe that they should be you.
Mm-hmm.
Because they like, she can't sing, she can't rap, she don't act, she don't do nothing. How she get popular? I could be popular for no reason. So then they hate on you for that because they like, you don't really deserve the popularity that you have. It's not warranted or earned. So that's just what I see, but I'm done talking.
I was just
Tiara, what
gonna
were you
say,
saying?
and just another factor, our young men are dying in the street because they're suffering from PTSD.
Right.
Thank
When
you.
you are in poverty, if you're in a impoverished, underserved, undervalued community,
Mm-hmm.
and you are in a violent community where you see friends dying, that's not normal or shouldn't be normal.
Right.
That's what
It's
they see
traumatic.
in war.
Yeah, it's traumatic.
Soldiers see, and that's why they have care. Well, they should be getting the care that they need. Is because of
Right.
war and what the atrocities they see that is happening in these neighborhoods around America, and then they don't classify these young kids with PTSD and don't get them help. And so, guess what they do? That rage gets bottled up, and it comes right back out. Thug life. What message Tupac was trying to say? Take you give.
Yeah.
We don't get to these kids and help them with their mental and coping skills, we are going to continue to have a generation of homicide and death around our black men.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it starts with this whole conversation that we're having, which is like we got to start understanding mental health, what that looks like, start giving grace to it, stop judging it, and allowing people to embrace their mental health issues without putting all that stigma on it. Because who the hell wants to admit that they feel like they're going crazy when going crazy is just going to get you more ridiculed?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Or outcast or talked about. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Doc Deuce, you got any last words?
Last words. Kanye West is a genius. I have a lot of respect for him. Matter of fact, I love humans, generally speaking. Creative humans are my favorite kinds of humans. So I just love creativity, and I think that there's a lot more potential out there that needs to be tapped into. And when it comes to this conversation about mental health, when it comes to considering the trauma that a lot of people living in the neighborhoods Sierra has mentioned, myself, I'm from San Antonio, you know what I'm saying? So, you know me from Austin, but I grew up in San Antonio in the 80s and 90s, and it was not a nice city. DJ Quick compared it to Compton. And in his single, it's just like Compton.
It's San Antonio.
So, yeah, so I myself am one of those people who have witnessed things at a young age that a lot of kids, shouldn't have to witness, and have gone through some things that have certainly left a mark. And so I try to have empathy and compassion for folks, and for that to be the way, as opposed to always finding something to hate. That's where I try to come from. I try to open my eyes, open my arms, open my heart, open my mind. And I think openness is going to be it's going to need to be a big part of how we get to new places.
I agree.
Yes.
Oh, can I say this one little thing?
Mm-hmm.
I always said, I remember this from a little girl. They said it's a thin line between genius and crazy. Like most of the people that
hairline thin.
For real.
I think we took it out of context and think of it as a bad thing.
Right.
Because they didn't know how to frame crazy in a positive way.
Right.
Because they were always labeled the bad kids. They were always the bad ones.
But their brain
They
is
used to be
just
the witch
beyond,
doctors back in the day.
right, that their brain is beyond what
The
I
shamans
think
in
the
the
normal
town.
of other people are.
Right.
And so
It's
they have those
true.
higher IQ. So if you look at the Mozarts, if you look at all these artists and creators,
Mozart was a bit of a dick too.
yeah, what I'm saying, but if you think of
Yeah,
just
he was real
art,
cocky. Yeah.
music,
Einstein.
that have invented things,
Creative people.
they was on the, you
My
know,
favorite people.
Yeah, there's
we were
actually proof.
classified.
They've
Yeah.
done studies on this. There's actually proof that, like, people with especially bipolar, they actually do have studies saying that a vast majority of the time they have a very high IQ.
Y'all gonna see how
pattern,
much of a
complete
crazy
pattern.
genius I am. Y'all just keep your eyes open for what it is I'm gonna be bringing soon, because I am here to help. I'm here to help.
All right.
Well, thank you for joining on with us. We
Yeah, glad you joined the conversation tonight. Yeah, that was
Nice.
good. That was definitely. I mean, again, I'm glad that all you guys joined the conversation, and I'm glad that everybody who was watching tonight joined the conversation. Of course, you can always watch the show after we air on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook channel. Like I said, we'll continue the conversation in the comments if you do decide to follow or to comment, in there. But this is what we do every Tuesday night. We ran over a little bit tonight, but again, I think obviously this was a passionate conversation for all of us. And, I think that we all have our own journeys with therapy and just experiences, and we've all kind of brought those things to the table. And so, I appreciate you guys for you're really kind of being an open book all the time whenever we do this, but certainly getting into the fragileness that talking about mental health certainly, is for a lot of people. But for anybody watching, there is a lot of help out there. And I know that, that can be said so easy, but there are a lot of resources. If you're local or anywhere in fucking Texas and you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. Like, I'm not a beacon of all things, but I am more than happy to help try to navigate the system of mental health, substance abuse, and any type of recovery services that somebody might just be looking for, whether it's free help, cheap help, you have insurance, it doesn't fucking matter. Like this is what I do in my day-to-day life. And, we've got a lot of resources in other states and cities too. And I mean, it's just starting somewhere, even if it's just finding a book that, is something you can read, or a podcast or a channel or just anything. Like, reach out to somebody. Everybody in this room, everybody who's watching us knows at least one solid fucking helper. Reach out to that person and let them help. Really and truly, let them help. The journey has to start somewhere. But, I thank everybody for being here. This wasn't supposed to just be a dog on Kanye kind of thing. I'm glad that, Denise, you could see that it was clearly like a pretty neutral conversation. It wasn't going to be a slam on one or the other, because we don't need that. Like, that doesn't help at all, So come back next Tuesday. We'll be doing this again next Tuesday. I don't know what our topic for next Tuesday is. Yes, we're going to have hard clothes next week.
Sure.
I don't know what our topic is. So if you have some topic ideas, shoot them to us. And then, and if you've got anything that you need to plug, I know, Tiara, you had your candle making class. It looks like it's sold out. Y'all make sure that you drop your pages and your businesses, all of your thing on the Free Thinkers page, so we can support and we can promote you guys as well. And I think that's
Jump on my page too. I'm happy to help.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And that's it. We'll see y'all next.
Tiara, you should think about doing that online sometime.
I know. I think I'm gonna have to work something out, because I got to make
Right.
sure everybody has the supplies to do it.
Send the supplies, materials, part of it.
Yeah.
I'd love
A girl I know does a cookie making class like that. She sends all the cookie stuff to them in a box, and then she does the shit live, and they do a cooking class for them. That's very possible.
I'd love to do that.
I'm trying to branch out some things, so we gonna see what we can do.
I'd almost want to take a trip to Atlanta just to.
I know.
I thought about it.
We had a good time. Because it was if you guys, you didn't get to hear the video or whatever, but it's a jazz band playing in the corner, so it was really dope. So they had the jazz going and the class. Everybody was like, after the class, and even today. I mean, even it was Tuesday. Because I had a thing Sunday, and they're still reaching out to me like, "Oh man, that was amazing! It was so therapeutic." I was like, "Yo, it just worked." I didn't plan the jazz band being there, but it was there. So
And I gotta tell you, I just saw your bunny cheese dough bowl, and that is so cute. So she
Yeah.
is doing the damn thing over there, Comfort and Light. Make sure you follow her page for sure.
Appreciate. Oh yeah, I do.
All right, that's it. We'll see y'all next Tuesday.
Bye
All
guys.
right, good night, everybody.
Bye.
Mwah.
Good night.
Bye, y'all.